Everyone, welcome to the inaugural TheCrewRP podcast. Everyone here, yes, I'm Yumbledore, your Yumble host, and I'm here with some great friends from the TheCrewRP. Everyone, introduce yourselves.
Who should go first?
I should go first. I'm Yumbledore. I play on the TheCrewRP.
No, you should tell us who to go.
Oh, okay. I'll tell them who to go. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm so excited. We're here with Ezilii. Ezilii, everyone.
Hi, I'm Ezilii. What else do you want to know?
I want to know everything.
I play Becky and Emily Frost mostly.
And she runs the show. And she runs the server.
We'll get about that later.
We'll get about that later. That's fine. Here with TheCrewRP as well. TheCrewRP, introduce yourself.
Oh, hi, everybody. I'm TheCrewRP61. I play Tussy Boucher, future mayor of this fine city of Los Santos. Vote for Tussy, brighter days. I also do Tony Colombo for a hot second, and I'll have another character tonight.
What?
Surprise.
Spill in the beans.
No spilling the beans.
The beans have been spilled.
They've been put on the table. You just don't know what kind of beans. Are they baked beans? Are they pharma beans? Are they lima beans?
I'm gonna bet they're maple beans.
You would.
Canada.
Everyone's favorite hillbilly. We're here with citRa as well. citRa, welcome. Who do you play?
I'm citRa, and I play Jim Bob Hillbill. It's a lowercase b with the dash before it. He's the town hillbilly. I don't have any other characters. I have been wanting to create one. I just have gotten too in depth with Jim Bob. So no other surprises or spoilers there.
There's no, that if it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist, but we can't wait, I'm sure.
Yep.
Everyone loves Jim Bob.
Yep.
Everyone loves Jim Bob, so we really need a character that we don't love as much. citRa, if you could produce that for us.
Yeah, the problem is I'm Canadian. I just want to say I'm sorry all the time. You know? I'm sorry.
And we know you mean it.
I'm sorry.
And we know you mean it. And I'm Yumbledore. I play Timmy Two Flutes, as well as G Money Crickets, as well as a lifeguard named Brace. And you'll meet them all. Everyone on the server. I know everyone loves Brace, of course. I don't even like Brace. But yeah, this is the inaugural podcast, everyone. This is the first lineup. I think the plan is to have a revolving cast of characters, to some degree. You know, different mix and match, and get the stories, get everyone's takes on different things going on the server news for the TheCrewRP. Talk about characters, talk about RP, talk about everything. And I'd like to make this a weekly thing. You know, I'd really like to have this be super consistent and have this be super.
That's a lot of work.
It is. Well, luckily I have time to do it, and a lot of help. A lot of people are excited to be a part of this too, right? We wouldn't be here if we weren't, Ezilii.
Yeah, totally. And as long as we put the preparation time that we put into this one, like that 2.5 hours beforehand, I think they're all going to be great. I'm just kidding. I'm sure you put more effort into it than that.
No.
Yeah.
There was talk before that. We did
Maybe
a lot
about
today.
An hour of,
we did a lot today.
Graphics work.
Yeah, I know. Just
courtesy of Ezilii.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
You're so Canadian, citRa.
I know.
Stop being sorry, and be sorry for once.
I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't have an A in it. I can't be sorry. I'm
wow.
Sorry.
Well, when you put it that way, it does sound weird, doesn't it?
Definitely Canadian.
Anyway.
So I think the first thing that we should talk about, and really I'd like to talk to everyone who comes on the podcast about this, is how they arrived here on the crew with the crew, because I didn't know any of you before the crew. So this is all from the crew, by the crew. You know, this is us. This is homegrown, I guess you could say. And
that actually surprises me.
I knew of you, Ezilii, but I didn't I don't know.
That you didn't know anybody else besides, like, when you walked in, it was you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Imperial didn't know who I was, but I knew who. We'll get into the stories of it. I can do mine first, quick, if you want. It's a very quick story, but I want to hear everyone else's. And Ezilii's story is probably the big story because this is your, this is your baby that we all get to have fun on, right?
I mean, if you want me to go into labor, I can.
That's what this is. This is a labor of love. It's been a labor of love. Maybe we'll do Well, I'll do mine on the quick. It was Imperial Jedi mentioned it. He mentioned I want to do GTARP, or I'm doing it on a Ezilii server, and I said, boom, that's the one for me, and I did it, and I had never done it, and I had no plan, and I love it, and now I know all these great people because of it, and that's like, it's really not much more deep than that. I want to hear everyone's deep stories, but that's as deep as mine goes, honestly.
I'll segue off that into
Please.
saying mine wasn't much deeper. I'd always been wanting to try GTARP. Getting onto a good server was so hard, like, getting whitelisted and all that kind of stuff. Just took so long. Like, to give you an example, I think in March I signed up for another server on a different mod, and it took them 3.5 months to approve me, and by that time I was playing on the crew, and I'm glad that it took them that long. But I basically found out about the crew from Empire Stream. I just hopped in there one day. He was playing. It looked like, he was having some awesome interactions with other citizens in there. And, I said, I've got 5M installed. Why not give it a shot? So I hopped in and haven't looked back. It took me 20 minutes to get convinced to join, and I've been addicted ever since. I don't think I've slept more than 4 hours at a time, and it's been a great time.
It's hell on my sleep. Hell on my sleep as
Oh,
well.
dude. Yeah, it's bad.
Grum, I know you got history. I know you got history with RP.
Okay.
That led you here.
Yeah. So it was actually around this time last year, maybe like a little bit, 13 months. I was watching Spaceboy, and Spaceboy got into GTARP on NoPixel, and through that I said, damn, that looks so much fun. I want to do that. How do I do that? So I asked around how to get onto NoPixel, and they're like, hey, look, it might take you a little bit to actually like get approved. And I said, okay, if anybody knows me, I'm very confident in myself, borderline arrogance, but it comes from a good place. And so like, I'm like, yeah, it took you a lot of time. I'm me though. I think I'll get it within like 1 or 2. Thinking, I'll speak into it existence. It'll take 3 or 4. Maybe I'll have to, donate to it. I do my first thing and a first application, and bam, I'm accepted. And I go, oh, that's a big deal, because they take it very their whitelist application is very serious, very meticulous. You're supposed to go over like your experience with role playing, and they give you 2 prompts that you basically have to role play out yourself. And apparently, like, a lot of people don't understand that like RP is, and we'll talk about this later, but like RP isn't about winning and losing. It's about telling a funny or good story. And I guess I did that well enough to go through. So I did that for a little bit. The NoPixel new server, the one that everybody currently sees, went up in like August or so, and then it brought back a lot of older people, and thus the queues became way too long for me to wait. So I took a break. I'd get back on every couple months or so. Sorry, I had to burp, and I didn't want to. It's not my stream. I'll
Just
burp
do it
on
in the
my
mic.
stream. I won't
No,
burp on
burp,
somebody. No, I don't
burp
want to.
away.
No,
We want everything.
Okay.
This is
Fine. There
you go.
recorded
Perfect.
for all
Perfect.
to see and hear.
The real
if
Grum.
that's the
I got-
impression you want,
Yeah.
when it's dead, then good.
Fine. So I ended up, taking a break, and I asked around. I was going to apply to like Rivalry or the Family or Twitch RP, these other whitelisted ones, because it's whitelisted. And any of us who have tried to do GTRP, public servers. Hey, am I allowed to curse on this? Are we?
You can say
Some
darns
of the
and
clips
dangs.
are gonna end.
Some of the I would say
it's-
some
it's
of the
fine.
clips
Some of the clips are gonna
probably
No,
probably
it's
confusing.
it's fine. I may refrain for the time being, but I
Okay.
won't fault you. No judgment.
The
Oh, no.
biggest
Okay.
thing is that it will be on YouTube.
Yeah, I will
So-
try not to.
Advertisement
over the
dollars
board.
might be a thing, but I wouldn't be
It
too
is-
concerned about it.
The
could
public
edit it out.
servers are a shit show.
Yep.
And
Ugh,
it
they're
is-
so bad.
people who don't understand, who are just, especially now, the last like 5 months or so, after like the big names like Summit, Tim Tatman, Soda Popping got onto GTRP, and they're like, I want to do that. So they jump into these public servers, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna be the bad guy who does all the cool things. Bang, bang, boom, boom, bang. And it's like, no, that's not. You're missing the entire point of it all. go back to playing whatever you were doing before. And like and then people get turned off by it because they want to do the fun things, but they go to public servers and there's schmucks who are being dinguses. Anyways, I was almost about to give up on the idea of doing GTA RP because the wait for No Pixel was so infuriating that I'd be like, okay, on a Sunday I would start the launcher up. I'd go into the server, go into the queue at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon with the idea of like, okay, I'll get on by like 7. 6 hours goes by, I'm still like 20 to 25, and I'm like, I'm not getting on. So I was about to give up on the idea of GTRP as like a thing I could do and have fun. And Empire got involved. I don't know who I'm going to assume Jedi, because I know.
Actually, Empire and I know each other really well too.
So it was you. I never asked him how he got into it. So like, I just knew that, he was doing it. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like, like this is good. And then I started watching him, and I'm like, he's having fun. People are like, not being, buttholes, dinguses, and hey, I'll do this. So like, eventually, I was like, hey, Pyre, like, I want to get in on this server. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like it's filled with good people who actually want to do GTA RP. And he goes, yeah, it's a newer server though, so like everybody's like real excited and whatnot. Like you'll fit in just perfect. And I was like, good. So then that's how I ended up, and then I met everybody else. So hi, love you all. Mwah.
Heart,
Mwah.
heart. Now Ezilii has the most background knowledge on the server, and I don't know any of it. So this is all, Ezilii, I'm about to ask you the big question. Where did this all come from? How did you get here and gather all these fine people together today?
Well, let me look at a calendar. Let's see. I think March 29th was the first day anybody could get on the server. But the story goes further back to 2017. And who's typing?
Who's typing where?
I don't know. But anyway, back in 2017, when I bought Grand Theft Auto 5 for like cheap on the summer sale, I wanted to do roleplay back then. And I had someone who set up one server, and they were trying to set it up, and obviously server development is like pretty difficult. You got to know how to code, you got to have resilience, you got to be able to find bugs, you got to do all kinds of things, and that's not my thing. So that quickly fell apart because it takes time. And then I kind of put it aside as like, well, I won't probably play this anytime soon. And then I started doing Euro Truck Sim on Friday afternoons or Fridays during the day on stream, and we'd have like 10 people playing that game. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we could role play in this game with someone pulling over the truck driver because I'm doing 120 kilometers or 180 or something, something ridiculous. And I was like, I wonder if we could do this roleplay thing. And so then I was introduced to another server who is having trouble getting up and going. And then Ziva came along. It's like, I've wanted to do this for a while. Let's do it. And so that happened in March. And since then, it's consumed my life. So what are we? Let's see, March 29.
Almost 3 months.
Yeah, so we're like about 12-ish weeks in.
Wow. Yeah.
I assumed it had been like a lot longer. I thought I was pretty late to the party, being like a month.
Too.
I think
you
I'm
guys
a
are
month
pretty
in.
early to the party.
Little did I know what I was getting myself into. And everything citRa said holds true about not being able to sleep anymore. Sleep is less important than RP.
That was the case for me the first like week and a half or so, where I was just like, oh, I can't go, and like now it's just like, okay, I'm going to force like Tussie's just be like, no, I'm done, like I'm going to sleep, let's go, somebody take me home, because he bums ride from everybody, because
Yeah, and what's funny is like I'll be getting ready to wrap up for the night, and then there's a bank robbery, and then it turns into a negotiation with a lawyer, and then suddenly the
Yeah.
sun is coming up.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I find myself getting roped into stories like, and they're usually the most intense ones of the night or up there.
Right? It's like so good
right
to not
before you want to
end.
log off. Yeah, I know. You're like I'm driving my car to the garage and someone calls me and I have to answer it. I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on? And next thing you know, you're in this crazy party, or you're driving up Mount Chiliad and you fall off of it, or whatever it is.
That was
Which I have done several times, by the way.
Not Jim Bob. You're very careful with
No,
Jim
no,
Bob.
not. Yeah. He's half metal.
He's made a
I
metal.
mean, that was Yumbledore. That was us the night agent shot up the Vanilla Unicorn. I think we both were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. It's like 2 a.m. Like we're going to bed." Agent shoots up
Nope.
the Vanilla Unicorn, and it's like 5 a.m. I'm like, "Okay, like let's go to the burger shot. Let's have our nice little like kumbaya moment and go to bed." And then
Oh,
Veronica's
yeah.
like, "This thing happened," and both of us like at the same time, and character like, "Nope, we're going to bed. We're done for the night. Nope, we've
We're
had a
going
tough
to
night."
bed. Yeah. That was some great RP too. That whole scenario was all emergent. That's the word that I've decided. Like it's not random. It's emergent. It's very much not
Mhm.
random, in fact. And there were several factions that led to this one event, and we can talk about that at some point. Now might not be the night to talk about it, but the several factions all met up, and it culminated into this thing. And then the police are there, and then Timmy's driving down the highway, and his friends are calling him, and then like everything imploded very not randomly, in a very like calculated way almost.
Agent was so good at that. His character, like Kex, like killed that. He
Mhm.
absolutely killed that.
I
Yeah.
was
I loved that character.
yeah, and the ending was pretty top notch for even just like testing the waters in beta.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, can I do this? Like, sure, try it. And
Yeah, that was cool.
I was like totally in love. Like, okay, do more of this, please.
Oh yeah, and then that was the first time that I'm aware of that there was a police press conference that occurred. That I'm aware of,
Yeah.
at least, right?
Yep.
There was a press conference. So Agent,
That's
this
the
character,
first one.
yeah, he died. He passed away spectacularly. With fanfare. Everybody wanted him dead unless they were his friends, which I don't. They're
Yeah, I
under
couldn't
cover of
find that
darkness.
clip. I was gonna include it, but
Oh, we should. Yeah, it's
It's
in there.
definitely somewhere.
Grum's got it actually. Grum
Which
had the
one?
perfect angle.
The press
Agent press
conference?
conference.
Oh yeah. Kex,
You were
Yeah,
front-
I think I have it right
was-
here actually.
Okay. Yeah,
I got it right.
and
here,
I
I'll
went
send it.
cinematic because your boy Cinematic F.
Yeah, you went all out. Yeah, I saw that. You were in the perfect spot, and the whole thing was great. That whole it was.
I still love the person who was like, he was a hero, and it's like, no, he killed 30-something people. Definitely not a hero.
Who said he was a hero?
Nope.
I don't know.
Somebody called him a vigilante. I
No.
don't know
He's
who
not
it
a
was.
vigilante.
No,
He
he's
was
a
robbing.
criminal,
He
a
was
murderer.
robbing. The store clerks were losing their lives
Yeah.
left and right to that guy
I
for
just- I
what?
was just like,
$100? Come on
I-
now.
I
Yeah.
had to mute my actual mic like on my mixer because I was legitimately laughing, and I didn't want it to go like ruin the stream.
Yeah, I've done that move. I'll shut my mic equipment off if it comes down to it. I'm just like hard mute everything for so to avoid me giggling or gasping at the wrong time. But yeah,
I totally just leave it on and let the audience
deal with it. Yeah. So we've got
because most of the time it's ridiculous situations that I'm laughing my ass off, right?
well, here, if you want, we can do the press conference right now. In reality, like if we want to, we're talking about this thing, and it was kind of a server-wide. The agent story was a big deal. Or would you guys be opposed to me bringing this clip up real quick?
I think we should just do like a real quick hey, what led up to this point? Like just
Totally.
like
context.
going-
Yeah, we can talk
going
about the
back.
story,
Yeah.
So right now, is Kex in here?
Do you
Kex
want
isn't
the
with us, but
story? I don't know if Kex is around.
he's not.
I
He's
don't
not.
know.
I can tell.
I think
we all know a
Ezilii,
piece.
you might know the story best. Yeah, we all have pieces, but I don't.
So, what did
I
you
don't know a
guys
lot
know
of
of Agent other than this guy was
So-
taunting cops with ads?
So what I knew from what Kex told me, it was more the end game that he told me, but it was more that every time he got caught or came close, he became more dangerous, and had ended up having the whole point of it being like, you know, this guy was, you know, he's a criminal, he does all this stuff, and like as he becomes more infamous, he becomes more dangerous. Like, oh, you know, the guy who's just knocking over convenience stores, well, now he's robbing banks. Oh, you know, the guy who's doing that, well, he's now a hitman. Oh, the guy who's now a hitman is literally just now a serial killer, and now the serial killer is an absolute psychopath who does not care who gets in his way, be it a civilian, a cop, an EMT, and like doesn't matter, he will gun down whoever he wants. Like that's what I gathered from what Keck told me.
He had like personal beef with not like personal, but like RP personal beef with certain cops as well. Like certain cops would. So Jim Bob did a robbery with him. Jim Bob and Two Flits did a robbery with him, and he did not like
You
McCracken.
just admitted to this to Becky Malone? Are
Everyone.
You, like,
I don't see Officer Becky anywhere.
Yo, Timmy was in beta.
Let's see. Oh yeah,
Timmy. This was beta.
Is it OOC implied here?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Timmy
Only
was
if
in
you don't speak in
beta.
the voice.
it better be.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Becky, I would
Yeah.
never.
So.
Becky, listen
Becky's
to him.
gonna have to reconsider everything.
No.
He's an
This is-
honest
yeah,
man
The
after
meaning
your
of
heart.
life.
This is all
We
allegedly,
told
by
Emily
the way,
Frost.
Becky.
I'm told that you guys admitted this to Emily Frost, who, by the way, is a qualified attorney. By the way,
I've heard
Anyway,
she's
keep
a tough customer. That's what I've heard.
I don't know if Jim Bob's met Emily. I don't think he has.
She's rare. She's rare on the server.
Yeah.
she comes out to play every once in a while.
So citRa, yeah, my experience was the same as yours as Timmy. So he would call me out of nowhere and say, "Do you want to do this?" And Timmy was like, when Timmy was incepted, he was a criminal, right? That's why he has pinstripes. That's why he's like, that's why he talks like a gangster. That's why he's, you know, and he wasn't. And before I knew that he wasn't, Timmy was the hostage in that situation. Jim Bob was the
'cause
hostage
you hauled
taker.
me along to that, right? Yeah.
I did. Yep. That has its own story with it, with Donahue and everybody. But Timmy was mad and he went off and he said, "I'm going to do a crime. It's time to do a crime. I'm doing a crime." And that was the first and last bank robbery he was ever involved with. Also, for the record, off the record, out of character, allegedly. But yeah, that's so Agent planned the whole thing, and there was gunfire on McCracken. Agent was shooting at McCracken and all that, and we got away and everything worked out. And Timmy said, "Well, that's I'm never doing that again." So what actually happened. That's when I realized.
Did Becky meet you that day?
No, you met me day one. You met Timmy day one. It was day one for that was another.
Did
that
I point
was
a gun at your head yet?
no. I
At
don't
that
think.
point,
No,
I
I
would-
don't
Oh,
think.
well,
that
you haven't
happened.
reached second base with Becky then.
Yeah, exactly,
Right,
exactly. No, day one was fuzzy cuffs. That was an offhand, flippant comment by you, where I said, "Oh, hello there. Nice to meet you." Here, it's the cornerstone of his whole character. I'm just gonna explain this point. I'm in town with Curtis. Curtis and I had just met. Slayer and I know each other, but Curtis and I had just met, and I go, "Say, let's go to the back of this bank and use the ATM." And Curtis is like, "Okay." Like we both know what it is, but we both want to find out about the bank robbery mechanic and what happens, because I thought I was a criminal. So I'm in the back of the bank and I hit the button and there's no turning back. And like, "All right, buddy, we're gonna stay here for Curtis. Let's get out of here. Curtis, I don't want to do it anymore. Let's go." And we run right into a cop. And I forget who the cop was. It wasn't Becky, but we ran right into a cop car because I wasn't paying attention. And then before I know it, I'm in handcuffs. I'm like, well, you see, the one outside wasn't working, the ATM machine, so I had to go inside to use the one in the back. And then all the bells and whistles were going off, and I was so nervous. And then, you know, I'm in cuffs, and I forget what happened to Ezilii. There was like a reset, I think, a server reset or something. And when we were dropped back in, you and I had like 4 or 5 quality minutes of one-on-one RP as Timmy and Becky. And one of the things that you said, and my chat lit up, was that, you know, those are fuzzy cuffs. I'm the only officer with fuzzy cuffs. and it was as simple as that. And then 5 minutes later, I'm driving down the road. I'm like, "I'm glad we got out of that one." And chat's like, "Shoot your shot. You missed your chance. you missed your chance. Why didn't you say something to the fuzzy cuffs? And I was like, oh, I didn't get the signal. This always happens. And of course there was no signal. It was super offhanded by you. Super offhanded. You were like,
Yep.
they're fuzzy cuffs, and you probably don't even remember the situation necessarily, but like I do because it was my first day on the server. So that's where the fuzzy cuffs came from, and the cornerstone of Timmy's personality, which is his love for Officer Becky. That's where it started, and it's because chat peer pressured me. Basically.
Pressure, jeez.
Yeah.
Great.
Gotta love chat.
I know.
Yeah, thanks,
Chat's
chat.
great. Yeah, thanks a lot for that one. So what I mean,
so the backstory of Agent. So,
oh yeah,
because that's where we were going, was this backstory with Agent. So Agent was kind of keeping the officers busy, if you will, by doing some store heists, and he actually shot me in the shoulder at one of them. But like, it was a great test for the officers, because not only am I actually new to role play, but so are a lot of officers. Now we have a few more experienced role play officers on the team now, as far as officer role play goes. So hopefully that kind of shores up some of us that are new to this whole thing. But he shot me. I was down. I'm waiting for EMS. Like, it was a mess. It was just a nightmare. So there was a couple of days of this, but he would taunt us with the announcement thing. You know how you could be like, "Hey, I'm having a party."
right, for a mere $1,000
Well, he
you
would
can tell
send
everyone.
cryptic messages through the announcement and sign it Agent. And so this was going on for a couple of weeks. And then as we lead up towards Agent's finale, if you will, he started killing off people that he had in his inner circle that were skimming money off of his whole operation. And so by the time we actually get to this news conference clip that you're about to show, there had been 6 actual deaths of his own team. Now, the logistics of it is he was playing all those characters and role-playing their death. But they were all very grisly, very visceral, very sudden. We even had a concerned relative fly into town looking for one of the people that were named on his list. And then that concerned citizen got slaughtered after his relative got slaughtered. There's actually a clip that I think it was on Cruise. I think it was on Bridgeport Gaming. I think there was a clip of me kicking out that guy because he wanted to be arrested to make it look like he wasn't going to the cops. Well, Agent's too smart for this, right? So
yeah, that storyline's crazy. I mean, he thought that out so well.
Here, let me bring up this particular clip. But yeah, the whole saga was unreal.
Oh, definitely. And I would love more of that.
Where did the clip come from? Who sent it to me, and where can I find it?
Which one of the press conference?
Yes. Was that whispered to me?
It was
whispered.
Yeah.
Got it.
Whisper.
I was gonna say there's like 4 places.
I was gonna do it, but I wanted to make sure that I got the right one, so I just told Grum to do it.
Yeah, it was actually an experiment because he wanted to clear it with me. There's actually a clip where he used an SMG in my face where I actually tased him. If it was a pistol, I would have won. But although there's no winning, but he wanted to clear it and make sure that everything was kosher and cool and okay, and then it would work well.
Right.
And I was like, just don't tell me the stuff, but feel free to use, to do it, and just give me a heads up, and I'll tell officers, hey, you might want to be on tonight. Just so that we had enough officers to do the story justice and do the rest of the city, to cover the city's work. Because while he's doing this stuff, people are still, robbing a bank. They're still holding up a store. They're still getting into a fight. They're still getting into an accident. They're still dying somewhere. So It's very much a real, living, breathing police department.
I think that's the difference between an RP server and just GTA Online, isn't it? It's the cops. It's the cops and services. So not everyone's running around committing crimes. Though I will say there's a higher percentage of, even in RP, I'd say it's almost 50-50. Like half the people are criminals. It seems like, which is a much higher
it might
percentage.
even be higher than that.
It might be. I'm not sure. I only see a small sliver of the whole thing, but it seems like there's a lot of criminals running around.
Mhm.
And I'm one of them.
Cool
Probably
thing,
right now, maybe.
Yes.
The cool thing about the whole agent thing is he reached out to me maybe the Sunday before all that happened and said, "Hey, like I would love to get Tussie involved. Like, are you planning any like campaign speeches?" And I said, if you want, I'm down to like have a campaign speech and have agent come in and like shoot at Tussie and like kind of start leading the chase. And I think he may have said something to you, Ezilii, because you had brought up the next time I have a campaign speech, like Becky wants to be there and hear like what I have to say and whatnot. So I wasn't sure if he had said that to you or not. But then I guess something went, like he decided to go about it differently, but it still involved Tussie of like, hey, like I want to talk to you about this. I want to, they're like, he had like somebody playing Mantis. I don't know if that was him or not, but somebody named Mantis of like, hey, I want to take down Agent, and I hear you want him dead. And I was like, well, he wants.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, Jim Bob was there, and I was like,
yeah.
I was like, I'm kind because I want to see what happens, but also at the same time, like Tussie wouldn't just give a guy money to go kill a guy because he wants to be mayor. Like that's not, it's not something a mayor would do. And I basically pointed the police to where it was going down, and 2 police officers came back and said, "There's nothing over there," and I was like, "No, I'm telling you," and then immediately like they just start running away, and I'm like, yes, it's on. Let's like, and I think we were
Follow them.
Yeah, Timmy goes, "Let's go," and I'm like, "No, we're not going over there. Oh, we're not going over there." Like I don't like, because I knew at that like
my bad
in character, in character, like Tussie doesn't want to go anywhere near where there's people being shot. He knows like the dangers of like gunfights, especially between cops and criminals. But out of character, I didn't want I wanted that to be like the cops and agent. I wanted that to be the legit gunfight that I didn't want there to be civilians there that would distract like 1 or 2 cops from what was going on.
I'm just gonna interject, Grum. I do remember walking into where the gunfight was about to start and telling Tussie to leave because he was wanted to get involved. I was like, "Get out of here! I'm your security detail. Get the hell out."
You're talking about the when it got to
the hospital.
The hospital. Well,
Yeah,
that was
hospital.
the cool thing because Joe calls so on our end of it, Joe calls us and is like, "Hey, pillbox is safe. You don't have to worry about anything. Like, come to the pillbox. Everything is safe." And I was like, "Okay, like, let's go to the
that's
pillbox."
right. I forgot.
So
about
we all
that.
go there. Agent comes. We're all
Yeah.
hanging out. We just see this red like sports car like just burning out in front of us, and we're like, "The hell is that?" And we're just like, whatever, ignoring it, because it could just be somebody showing off their new ride. And then we get to like we're just chilling there, and then Agent runs in and bowls over everybody, and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's Agent! Oh damn!" And then like Gio went after him, and I'm like, "All right, Tussie would definitely go after me." Like, no, oh, you're not going in there alone. Like, just the instinct's gonna kick in, and Agent tased him, and then went in the morgue and whatnot. So that was fun. But
that's the last time the security detail listens to Joe. By the way, that was Joe to manager in here.
Oh yeah,
that's the last time.
Yeah,
last time.
First and last time. And also we're like, "Tussie, get out of Tussie, what are you doing? Get out of stop being in here. You're the mayor. Get out of here." You wanted to be there so badly. Yeah, we had to wrestle you away.
The fucking juices started flowing. Hey, this guy, he's a fucking threat to society. I'm a former cop. Let's fucking go. I'm ready to go. And then it's like, I'm not a cop though. Like, so I'm happy. And then that led to him being shot by Hancock, and then led to the press conference, which Yumbledore is going to show.
Let's see it.
That's a great segue. Wow. Here, check it out. Check it out. Technology. Boom. So this is from Grum's perspective, everyone. I'm probably gonna Probably silence during this, and we'll talk about it after. Radio silence for just a moment, minute long. So we've got the officers here, and Tussie, Dead Center, Geo, Veronica, etc. This is after Agent's death, right after Agent's death, press conference.
I bear some sad news today and some good news today. At approximately 48 minutes after midnight, Agent was killed in a firefight involved with police officers.
Yes.
The firefight concluded at a construction site. A chase gave way to the pillbox morgue, where he barricaded himself in, and that is where he met his final breath. Agent leaves behind a young daughter no one knew about.
Bittersweet.
It is very bittersweet, but the city can rest in peace knowing that Agent isn't around. I would, however, encourage that we do a fund for his daughter.
Absolutely.
Details to follow.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming out.
Your service, baby. Is there footage of his body?
Goodness, it was like exactly a minute. Great job, Ezilii, on keeping your press conference to exactly 1 minute.
Being brief.
Yeah, yeah.
Clippage length.
That's it, exactly. Keep it within clip length, please. If we can get all these story bites within 60 seconds, that would be really perfect for the podcast.
I gotta go back and highlight the actual like press conference from that angle, because it was great. Plus, I definitely want people to be like, the person just Inspector Becky was not a vigilante. Vigilantes are heroes who take. No, he killed people. He's a murderer. He's a monster. He deserved to die.
Yeah, but Agent did actually leave a young daughter.
I haven't met her.
Yeah, that's just story at the moment.
Yeah. No, it's canon.
How
it
young
just
are we
hasn't.
talking?
That's goodness. Oh, no.
Well, don't make a character 17 and then get sent to
Oh
jail.
my god.
Who would do that? That's something a stupid person would do.
I made it. Oh,
My
man.
bad. I'm sorry. Oops. When Tupop says, what's your parents' phone number? Can we call you? I made G Money as 17, everyone. Originally, G Money, the little scumbag of the city, was 17 years old. That was a mistake on my part for like a bunch of reasons, because the second he went to jail, he couldn't leave because he didn't have a guardian to go to. He just had to stay in jail. And I had to make it canon. So I was just like, officer, it's my birthday tomorrow. Yo, it's my birthday tomorrow. It's gonna be my birthday. Like tomorrow, I'll be 18. Like the second you let me out. So I literally just went to town hall and I'm just like, G Money's 18. We're amending this right now. That's that.
Yeah. At least you played into it.
It was unintentional. I didn't really consider the role play ramifications of being underage. I was like, oh, that's problematic, isn't it? Yeah, that's.
I'm not gonna lie. Most things that I've done, especially early on, I did not consider the ramifications of,
Right.
and just kind of went along with it. Right.
That's
Yeah.
kind of like starting out, is that you don't think ahead with your character. You just go, what would my character do? Okay, this. And then you don't go, what does this mean for my character afterward? Or what does this mean for the world in which my character is like living?
Hey, Yumble, how'd you like that segue?
What segue? What? Yeah, segue. I'm ready. Overcoming. Hey guys, you know what we should talk about? Overcoming roleplay problems. No,
Hey, sometimes.
I mean,
you
I
throw the
know that
alley-oop
there's a
and
list
nobody's
somewhere.
there.
I know. That's the thing. That's the thing. I think most of us are new to roleplay. Grum, you're something of an exception on this whole server, right? But I think largely, maybe this is the wrong assertion, but this is my impression, is that most of us are new to roleplay, myself included, right?
I believe that is the case, yes.
Yeah, there's a few really experienced people, but for the most part, we're all kind of new to it.
I would say to GTA RP, not so much role playing itself, but like just this brand or this vein of role play. I mean, there's plenty of people who have done D&D and that kind of RPing, so it's very similar, but it's just a different type of RP where instead of one person telling a story and control the dungeon master controlling what happens and knowing exactly what happens if this happens or that happens. It's no one knows exactly what's going to happen because you're working with an open script for the most part. And
Right.
you know, so yeah, but in a sense, I think everybody I talk to is like, oh, this is the first time I'm doing GTRP, or this is the first time I'm really doing GTRP.
I mean, it's my first RP period, and I guess what I underestimated
never did
personally,
tabletop?
Never, nothing at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean,
Um,
tabletop. So like the little bit that I did tabletop, you know, the person that was leading the campaign ultimately is deciding, other than whatever, you know, you roll on your D20, like do you hit somebody or do you escape or what, you know, whatnot. They ultimately kind of guide you through a campaign, whereas here everybody is their own you know, master, if you will, of their story, with the exception of you are affected by things that occur in the city and that occur to other players. Like if your friend in the game, you know, in the city suddenly is gone, your character should be affected because there's now an absence. And then you make a new friend. Case in point, Fort Duke went all emo, but he lost 2 friends that were really close to him.
And that's great too. I want to see where he takes that. His makeup was off yesterday. We'll put it that way. He looks slightly less like the Crow. Just ever so slightly less like the Crow.
Oh.
And that's what I underestimated personally with the whole thing, was the development piece, because I just, in my head, Timmy Two Flutes was a criminal. I wanted to make a vicious criminal who treats everyone really nice, and that's who Timmy Two Flutes was supposed to be. And then I realized that that's not who he was. Once I started interacting with other people and saw the types of friends that he made, it was like, oh, he's not a vicious. Not only is he not a vicious criminal, he's not a criminal at all, and he's actually a sweetheart. And he doesn't want to hurt anyone, actually. And he loves Officer Becky.
Aw.
I know. Due to some flippant remark that Ezilii made once about cuffs. But yeah, the winners and losers piece in RP is something that's interesting to me too, and that's the other distinction between an RP server and a regular GTA Online, doing robberies, getting money, stealing the show kind of thing. You know, the winners, the losers. Has anyone ran into a problem or has anyone felt the give and take in a situation where you're like, you could have won and you decided not to because it wasn't good for the story? Or
Yes.
how?
Yeah, and I definitely have a story where I was the opposite. I think I tried to win when I shouldn't have, and you know, you
Was
realize
that
that
the
after the
was
fact,
that
yes,
Bahama Mamas?
Yeah, yeah.
I have a story where I thought
I was
where
so
I
close
was
to just popping you in the head and calling it
You
done.
should have.
Tell both stories. I want to hear both.
You totally
Good,
should
good.
have.
Go ahead.
I could go or you guys could go. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, citRa, I want to
go
hear, because
ahead.
I don't know this Bahama
Okay.
Mama story.
Neither do
So
I.
wanna hear
All
it.
right. So okay. There was a party organized at Bahama Mamas. A bunch of us showed up. We were hanging out outside, and all of a sudden, I forget if it was one car or 2 cars roll up, and you know they've got tasers. There's 2 or 3 of them. They've got tasers. They're telling us to all go inside, and me and another character decided, hey, we're gonna play hero, which, considering the circumstance, was me playing a first-person shooter game. Right? Is, hey, I'm gonna win. And so I took Jim Bob, I put him behind a car with a taser, and was basically having a little game of Ring Around the Rosie with Becky, or not Becky, Ezilii, and just firing shots, jumping around. It was ridiculous, right? It wasn't good RP. It wasn't in Jim Bob's character. He totally should have either tried to talk his way out of the situation or just walked into the building, right? It was because I was thinking about game limitations at the time as a reaction to the situation. I wasn't thinking about, okay, how would this guy that I've created actually react in that type of situation?
Because if you let your gamer instinct take over, you will try to win
Yeah.
10 times out of 10, Because every other game
Exactly.
that you play with a gun, you're probably trying to shoot the other person and win and get the point and whatever.
Right, and that's difficult to let go.
It really is.
It is. And I realized the second I started doing it, I'm like, oh shit. Like,
And then it
I-
resulted in a 30-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Shut it down. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, everybody, okay, you guys can blame me
I'm not blaming
for not
you.
having guns in the server right
God damn, it's your
No.
fault that my
Oh my
wife-
god. What the
now. I'm
Blame
just kidding,
Canada.
Ezilii.
Blame Canada.
Blame Canada, yeah.
Got
Just
it.
blame Canada.
Got
I
it.
already do.
No, actually, we
It's
can't
Canada.
have guns on the server yet because we all have to learn how to do it. But the server was public for a while as we were testing the waters and all that stuff. So we started to like just pull back on things where someone could pop in and then immediately just go to the store and buy all kinds of stuff and just
Oh,
start
yeah, that'd
shooting
be
people
bad.
all randomly. You know, we've had incidents on the server where someone gets on and like ran a script and put everybody inside of an air conditioner, and you know it wrecked roleplay.
Oh
And
my
then we
God, really?
learned. So like we've learned from having it on public and out in the open where things could happen, and then we turn it off. You can't find it, and now you have to, in order to get the information, you have to agree to the rules inside of Discord, and we're still looking
you-
at like
I
a
have
whitelist system other than Discord.
I have a quick question. I'm gonna take over for a second. Sorry.
Citra,
not
you have the floor.
I mean, if this goes
Do you
on for
feel
like
like-
3 hours, I'm also okay with the podcast being 3 hours.
Well, we're not
we can-
done.
For the first one.
Someone
We're
can
not
always
done.
cut it down, like when it gets published. Do you think that was a good thing that the server experienced that early on?
Yes. As much as I felt really bad that people's roleplay came crashing to a halt, and how mad I was at the person on the other side for being a jerk and coming on to, my server and ruining my fun. It's not my server, it's our server, right? I just help organize bits and pieces of information and hope to hell I put it in the right spot. And like cultivate the environment and cultivate the environment and provide a Discord and help lean on my own channel moderators to help kind of moderate things in Discord and should something happen. But
And of course
helped me.
the lovely programmers behind it, right?
Right. We can't have this fun without at least 4 people right now that I know directly. Zebra Rabbit, the Crappy Gamer, Hardcore Smashing Out Codes, all that stuff. You guys don't know that Bob Diddlebob and Chips Gray are working on vehicles.
Mm.
And that itself has been a challenge because even though they've had experience with it, they didn't have to work with me before.
Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
No, it's fine. It's just that we've ran into some hurdles with do we want officers to use music in the car with the light system? It interferes with the music. So there's been some technical hurdles. But we're going to have custom liveries for the police and EMS on our server, as well as other custom stuff. And then we'll move on to some other graphic projects. So yeah.
No, it's
Yeah, I mean,
fantastic.
it's been great so far.
On the
yeah.
gun piece, if you guys want to do that, I think
Sure.
what would make the guns personally, I've thought about it a little bit. And Grum, I want to hear your story too. You had a moment as well. This one just involved guns, so I just wanted to say this real quick.
You go.
That it's the responsibility of the person on the wrong end of the gun to not immediately knock out the person with the gun is what I think. Because if video game instinct takes over, you immediately try to pummel the person with the gun, and then they try to shoot you, and then the RP is dead. So if somebody pulls a gun, I think you should be terrified 10 times
Yes.
out of 10, like every time, this is, and Grum knows this. I know, we're on the same page here. We're on the same page where it's like, if that person actually does what the person what the person with the gun wants them to do, then the RP does not break down, and there's room for the situation to develop and sweeten or plummet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why people getting shot would happen is because the person doesn't respect the person with the gun. So then they get shot, and then everybody says, "Oh, they RP'd badly." It's like, well, respect the gun. That's the whole thing. Just respect it on both sides.
Yeah,
value
and if
your
you're-
life.
Correct.
Yeah, it's basic of valuing your life. If you were in real life and somebody and like I unfortunately can relate to this exact experience of being held up at gunpoint.
No.
The last thing I wanted to do was to like legit like I just gave the dude my wallet and listened to the guy, listened to him, and I'm still here. Why? Because I listened to the guy who had the gun on the right side who was on the right side of the gun. Like in life, that you don't get to swing at somebody, because in life you would get one bullet, because the game is the mechanics of the game work is such that your character can take more than one shot. It skews it like, oh yeah, cool, I got shot 7 times, but I'm still alive because I wore body armor. Like even if you wore body armor, like 3 shots is gonna knock the wind out of you. Like so to like you said, to not respect the other person who is holding the gun, and you're at the mercy of that person. So rarely is that person wanting to kill somebody. Like example being Agent, and Kex has confirmed this, that and talking to Baltic and Infidor, that Agent actually felt sorrow for what happened to Spencer and Georgia, because he didn't intend to actually hurt them, and like he was going to make it up for him and whatnot. But like, the idea of Agent pulled out a gun because he felt that he was being threatened by 3 people. He pulled out an SMG, didn't aim it at anybody, held it. Instantly, me and Spencer's hand go up. Georgia doesn't do anything at first. Georgia's had been drinking, like in her office. She pulls out her taser. Thus, it then becomes like, okay, I am being retaliated against, and now I will return fire. And Spencer gets in like, whoa, you just shot my girlfriend. Fuck you, pal. I'm gonna fight you. And then Tussie's like, I'm next, because at this rate, he already killed 2 people. He's not gonna let a third like just watch it all happen. So he that happens, and it created good RP because people respected. There were people who did respect the end of the gun, but like also the person who had the gun did not intend on shooting everybody right away. He just pulled it out just a threat. Like it wasn't and I've seen it before, is like people pulling out the gun or the stun gun and pointing it immediately and just being like, whoa, like, what are you doing? And it's like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do, because at the same, like, I think Ezilii, you mentioned it in a stream, either through in character as Becky or out of character, of brandishing a weapon is a form of assault.
Yes.
Like, so in real life, like you wouldn't just brandish your weapon, even if it's legal, to do it. You can, if you brandished it and took it out of its holster, like you're now liable, from a legal standpoint. Like you just gotta respect, respect having the gun, but also respect being on the wrong end of it.
My uncle is, well, he's now retired, but he was law enforcement. And I remember him being involved in a police chase because someone flashed a gun on the highway. And so they found this vehicle, and then the vehicle took off, and it was about a 30-minute chase, all because they flashed a gun on the highway, because that's actually assault, at least in Missouri. But you should value your life. And as far as like playing with guns, like I want guns on the server. I view stun guns as training wheels, and we still kind of like, I still have hero cops and we still have hero civilians or bad guys. As far as like a time where instead of taking the advantage, I let someone get away doing a chase because I made the wrong turn. Like, I knew they went one way and I turned thinking they went the other way, but I did it knowingly, so I gave them an out. So what we don't want is we don't want cops winning a bank robbery 100% of the time.
Yeah, especially with, like, let's use a hostage situation as an example, right? Like, they have to value the life of the hostage, and there's also, you know, obviously control issues sometimes when someone's got a hostage, and yes, sometimes they're not going to be walking directly in front of the person who's holding them hostage, right? So you might get a clear shot, but you know, do you really want to take that risk shooting so close to a hostage with a pistol, right?
Right. I did a test. Chips Gray and I tested the police officers, and I was held hostage by Chip's character, and my hostage died because we had a hero moment. And then when I was shot, nobody came to me. They were too busy with the suspect, and EMS went to go take care of the suspect while I'm bleeding out on the sidewalk.
Right.
Mm.
There's a few things we have to address, but I mean, yeah. So you have to get out of the mentality of, this is a game and I have to win. We're not playing Overwatch. That game is over there. And you're not playing Grand Theft Auto Online. That game is over there. This is roleplay, and the way you win at roleplay is you tell a very good, compelling story.
Totally. I was explaining what this is to someone recently, because this is new to me, and there's people in my life that know that I stream, but they don't know what I'm doing, and they're like, "Oh, so you steal cars and make money because it's Grand Theft Auto?" And I was like, "No, not. I mean, that would be underappreciating the nuance of the whole thing." And they're like, "Oh, how do you win? How do you lose?" And I just said, it's like it's like the person who plays Saruman in Lord of the Rings. If the actor was mad that he lost, it's like, no, he's not. He's an actor.
Great.
Yeah, you're just an actor in the story, and you're playing a script that doesn't exist, but it's an emergent script, and you're reacting and playing off each other, and there'll be winners and losers, but you're just an actor in the movie where you played the villain that day. You're just the actor that played their role that day. And that's it. It's just, you're just an actor, and you didn't lose. You lost because that's what you had to do for the story, not because you're worse at role playing. Because the loser, like the agent role play that day was
lost. You didn't lose.
Right. He didn't lose that day. Kex did not lose. Kex, agent
he put on a hell of a performance.
Exactly. And that's the point. You win by causing excitement and getting other people to try to one up you, and getting, elevating everyone's performance. I think that's where the victory is, and telling the story, the whole thing, in my humble opinion.
Your humble opinion?
Yeah. In my humble opinion. I know. Humbledore.
But if I can,
Please.
just to double down on that, I think like my 3 rules when it comes to GTRP specifically are: know your character's moral like compass. So if your character wouldn't do something, don't do it. Don't try to justify it to yourself. Just know, like, would Timmy Two Flutes rob a bank? No, don't. He wouldn't. Don't justify it. Like right now, as it is. Like obviously, if things were to evolve to a point where that would be, but like at that time, know your character's moral ground. So like, if they run into a gunfight, don't run into a gunfight just because you want to see what's going. So your character can see. You'll see it somehow. 2 is it's improv. Yes, and like you said, it is you're playing off somebody else, but don't just play off of them. Also add to it. But the third one, and this is where it's doubling down, is sometimes you are the star of the show, and sometimes you are simply an extra.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you
like that's sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
That's the thing about Jim Bob, right? Like Jim Bob's rarely the star of the show unless he's going to the hospital for blowing something up. He's an extra, and I'm okay with that. And
who's
I
a great
appreciate that
extra?
about his character, actually. Who's that?
Wiggles.
Yes.
Wiggles is the ultimate extra.
He's a star.
Do you know what Wiggles is doing when Wiggles is Wiggles?
Adminning.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, perfect.
Yeah.
The perfect job.
Yep.
And like,
because you could pet Wiggles, and then Wiggles runs away, does his thing, comes back. Did Wiggles go to the bathroom? Probably.
We'll go with that. That's canon. He would.
Yeah, sometimes everybody has a role to play in the story that is the crew RP. There is multiple crime lords, right? There are multiple police officers. There's multiple low-level criminals. There are multiple lawyers, repair people, taxi cabs, and if you're just and I like the one thing that I learned doing RP last year was that like figure out where you fit in yourself before you try to figure out where you fit in like everybody else's story. Like, you know, so when I got on, my intention with Tussie was to like, all right, like this is a new character. I've never done this character. It's literally just a voice and a name. And immediately I jump into Yumbledore's Buccaneer, and I thought he asked me like what my story was or how I got my name. And I was just, okay, here's how he got his name. There it is. And then it just rolls into it. And eventually he became like, there's a story that other people like are being a part of. But there's also stories that I'm a part of that I'm not the main thing. So like, I almost prefer that because I don't want Tussie to be like super serious, even though he wants to run for mayor. But like the idea of accepting that you're not going to be the star or even a supporting character during somebody's story is it's something you have to accept.
Yeah, there's exciting shit going on all the time, and you can only be a part of so much of it, right? And you know that's one thing I find myself guilty of, and again, this is my first time RPing. I find myself guilty of. I hop in the game and I'm like, okay, what's exciting going on? But you know what? It takes me a couple minutes to think about it, and it's like, okay, you don't need to do something super exciting all the time. Like that's not what this is about. Like story development. Like think about some things. You know, that's why I spent an hour and a half researching places to organize a car race, and that was a whole storyline, right? And you know, you run into people during those little tiny stories that you're developing, and they don't have to be, you know, this massive thing, right? Just all character development and pushing on towards something bigger, right?
The mundane moments that make up the character's
And
day
they
as
happen.
well. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they should.
happen, right?
But it should all serve to support kind of the overarching story that won't be, you know, you won't talk about the little moments, but those all happen. But then of course they all lead up to things, and you need that space. You need the arc is incomplete without the less actiony parts. You know, it's not an arc if you're always high octane deathmatch crazy guy who's action hero movie guy. Like then that's not an arc. That's just a nothing. That's just there's no ups and downs there.
Yeah.
Right.
All action all the time.
Yeah, it's not
Keanu
dynamic.
Reeves movie or something.
Yeah, I mean, even the Matrix has mundane, you know, has day to day, you know, chicken moments. Why does everything taste like chicken moments? You need those moments where you're like, just hanging and talking, and like, there have been times where I've said in my own character, like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have anything for us to do right now, you know, or whatever. And I've just realized that's like, I don't need to be sorry that there's nothing to do. Like, we're doing it. We're talking. This is the story. This is the thing right now that we're doing. We're talking, and our characters are growing and interacting, right?
Yeah. And I think it ties in a lot with the, you know, okay, this isn't just a video game. You're acting. This is a story, and you're writing and you're acting, and things are going to happen that aren't necessarily like, okay, I'm, you know, jumping out of I played a lot of PUBG before. Sorry guys. I played a lot of PUBG before I started playing this. And, you know, PUBG is kind of similar in a way where, you know, at the beginning of the game, you can start off really slow, but there's always a guaranteed point of action within a certain amount of time. And I got used to that over time. And I've played first-person shooters basically the whole time I've been playing video games, right? And I'm just used to that action all the time. So adapting to a game that's not like that is a challenge, but it's one that I've enjoyed for sure.
So do you, Grum, go, please.
I was the last thing I just want to like touch on is like, if you're an extra, like a supporting character in somebody's story, especially mine, the next time, if I have a good interaction with your character, I will seek out your character. And an example being, when I first met Jim Bob, you know, we talked about, you know, Jim Bob was like, yeah, I want to be in the herbal and herbal medicine, and like I knew he was talking about weed, and Tussie did too, and and then I got a bike, and I'm like, all right, I want to go find Jim Bob because he's got weed, or he can take me to weed, or like something's going to happen. Like I want to go and hang out, or I want to do something, interact with Jim Bob, and and that became Jim Bob being a friend of Tussie, and it's like just simple as that, like hanging out with Red, and like him saying like, oh hey, like you should come down to Grove Street and I'll show you around, and show you part of the city you might not know about. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good like, yes, okay, that is something that builds towards not just my story but also the story of Red. I'm going to, like, next time I get on as Tussie, I'm going to try to do that.
I mean, what would your character do? Asking
Yeah.
what would my character do, and then doing that constantly, whatever that is.
Cutting people's hair, robbing banks in a pizza suit.
Yeah, man. Dude, and my favorite part.
I love G Money.
Thank you. I'm glad you do.
Yeah,
He's yeah, it's a thing, and none of it. I've thought of very little. I don't know how much backstory or how much meditating on it before, or like how long people think of things before they do it. But it was very scant at the beginning, and then a lot came from it, actually. And I think that's my favorite way to do it, at least. And Grum's got some surprise character that might interact with him a lot at some point, maybe. And we've planned virtually nothing. So it's all going to be.
I
That's
haven't
what
planned
I did
anything.
with mine. Yeah.
And that's when I have the most fun too, is when I end the stream. For me, I stream it all, so you can see it all here. But at the end of it all, I like going, wow, that wasn't planned. That was great. If I had planned it, it would not have gone as well as it did, and it wouldn't have been as emergent or as funny or as compelling. And that's my favorite part, is like the appearance of these. It just appears. If everybody is on their toes enough, things just pop out of nowhere, and you have to react to it and one up them, and whatever. That's the that's my favorite part.
The part that's cool is like after so I didn't plan out Jim Bob at all. Like, I had the little backstory, and I just make shit up as I go along, and then I have to remember a bunch of crap that I made up at 4:00 in the morning or whatever. But the cool part is, after a little while, you start to know your character, and you do, because when you get put in those situations that are not planned at all, and you look back at how you reacted and what you did, you're like, wow, like I feel like I did the right thing. And that's why, Ezilii, I brought up, the party situation.
Oh yeah,
because that was the one time I was like, oh no, like, why did I do that? Right.
And then we had like that discussion, and you're like, yep,
Yeah.
I screwed it up. Like, yep.
Yeah, exactly. But
If
for the
someone
most
got-
part,
you would listen to them, right? You would get inside, and then you would probably look for a way to overcome it.
yeah, exactly. You just don't jump into defense mode right away, right?
What
But
would
it's it's the 95% of the times where you react in a way that you're almost proud of. You're like, hey, I'm glad I reacted that way, because I think that really fits my character's MO, right? And that's kind of cool.
I think it's interesting that the world is the whole thing. We're playing within this framework, and there is kind of, I would compare it to the speed of light. There are these like concepts that are true across the whole thing. And one of those is, it's like health. Like the concept of like, okay, all the characters have health, and they all have hunger, and they all have these things. And I almost wish people would forget about these things as being real things, in a sense. Like, you should act as if an actor, you don't have to shoot an actor once or twice for them to go, oh, I've been shot. Oh, I'm going down. I almost wish that we could forget about the game mechanics so much and focus on it as if it was truly a stage. Because that's where I think
it is a stage.
It
yeah.
is, exactly. And just forget about, it's like, oh, that's overpowered. And it's like, well, it's not overpowered. The person that should have acted overpowered by it didn't act overpowered by it. It's not that the thing is overpowered. It's that like you just go, oh, I yield. More yielding all around might be the trick with like power dynamics.
Right, and like the use of weapons, right? So he wasn't technically Fort Duke, but the player who plays Fort Duke was holed up in a convenience store, and I was the only officer available to respond. And we had probably a good 10-minute shootout until I got really lucky and accidentally popped him in the head,
Right.
which killed the role play. And it was soul crushing.
Yeah,
Because
you
I
want it
wanted to
last
get
so
him
much
out
longer,
of there. So there's a police chase.
Yes. You weren't done telling the story, but because of the
Right. And
health bar.
yeah, it's like somehow either I had hit him a couple of times, or maybe he didn't even have body armor. I don't know, but I got lucky because we took the dot away for you to aim. So you have to know where it is in order to aim. But what you want to do is, you want to shoot near someone, not at someone.
Hmm.
Like if they're running to the left, you want to shoot trailing behind them so it looks like they're dodging bullets. Yeah.
Right.
For
It's
the sake
Hollywood.
of story. Yes.
Right. Same thing with, if you're in a police chase, instead of getting out of the view distance of the police officer, which is pretty quick, slow it down and let the chase go on for a bit. And eventually someone's going to mess up. Either you're going to go into a dead end or they're going to get lost. It's going to happen.
Yeah. And, it's fun to do the kind of RP aspect of, chases and gunfights and using other weapons. Like, a really small example that I just know because I did it was Jim Bob wanted to see what it felt like to get hit with a flashlight. So he was standing outside. Yeah, he was like, somebody got beat over the head with a flashlight, and he's like, "Oh, I've never been hit in the head with a flashlight. I want to get hit in the head." And so he convinced Kay to hit him in the head with the flashlight. It didn't kill him, but he's like, okay, hit me in the head. And then he's all like woozy, and he's walking into the hospital to go get patched up, and he just passes out in front of the door. I had health left. I could have totally just walked in there, healed up, and been fine. But playing the passing out and the doctors rushing out to the hospital, be like, what the hell's going on? That was the fun part of that whole scenario, right? And I think that missing out on that, it really has to, downplay the RP. Kind of like in your situation, obviously it wasn't intentional, but it, like you said, it would have been a lot more fun if the story could have went on, right? So I think that's a really important part that people need to think about, right? And I'm not saying that they're not all the time, but sometimes, and sometimes you go into that gaming mode, right? I'm not dead. I'm not dead.
Right. It's like people get into a car accident that would otherwise kill you in IRL. Suddenly keep driving. So I like, technically the car is drivable, keep driving. But, if you took out 7 poles and you smashed another car and you spun around backwards and you rolled like 17 billion times because you fell off a cliff at the same time and you kept driving, odds are you probably actually didn't or wouldn't have survived that. So you should probably stop. But, that's getting into the nuances. And, there's really no rule like, hey, if you hit a thing, you have to stop. But it's more like if your car is undrivable, then you need to find a new one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's something that we got to work out.
I do that all the time, right?
And, cops do it all the time too.
Yeah. You roll a car
send that
over,
one to the city,
like,
please.
yeah.
Send that bill to the city. But like how real do we want to get? Like, oh, well, I am willing to accept if your car is disabled, then you're disabled. But if you lived through all of that, then jump in and steal another car and drive away.
Yeah. I think it's at that point, that's a gut call, right? Like, how do you want the story to go? And how are you going to deal with that? That's been, that kind of card that's been dealt to you at that time, right? Is you rolling a car every time you go around a corner? Maybe you have to learn how to drive, but rolling
True.
a car into 5 lampposts and over a bridge every time you turn around a corner, Liz, is that making for good story.
Shots
Sorry, I had to.
fired. Shots fired. As long as there's no water nearby.
It's yeah.
Well, so like yesterday, we had a role play where someone had rolled their car over, and they called for help because they were trapped in their car. And it illustrated one of my early thoughts when we started out was that maybe EMS will respond from fire stations as opposed to pillbox. And we would maybe also have like firefighter paramedics where you'd have a rescue
cool.
truck come and get someone out of the car. Granted, we don't have a rescue truck, but we definitely role played with what we got. And, you know, the EMS brought quote unquote the jaws of life with them. And we kind of worked around it. I think we decided that we could open the back doors and pull the victim out, and then we role played. Unfortunately, her leg was caught underneath something, and we had to like roll her leg and like cause her immense pain. But it was pretty good, and I enjoyed it. But you know, it illustrated a point that or an idea that I had that maybe I wasn't too off base. That maybe we could possibly have firefighter paramedics, and if there's enough on, one can bring a quote unquote heavy rescue, and a doctor, or if there's not enough, a doctor might be able to run in a fast response vehicle to scoop them up after the rescue team gets somebody out of said vehicle. But that's the first car accident we've actually had where we role played someone stuck in it.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And they still had health, of course. They weren't in a coma. Or were they
Correct.
in a coma? Yeah,
Nope.
and that makes it better for me because they decided to tell that story rather than being forced to call services because, oh, my game ended because now I'm in a coma. It's like, no, it's an opportunity to tell a story even though you're not downed. My question about that whole scenario, and I want to know all of your thoughts on this, and I know that we've gone way... Originally, everyone, this was meant to be half
Like
hour
30 minutes
to an hour
30
format, and now
minutes,
we're
90 minutes is nice. I told myself
okay.
like 90
It's okay.
minutes.
it's
Hey.
yeah, I kind of knew.
You know what? It's okay because this is the first one. This is the inaugural run, and there will be many to come, and there will be
Yes.
many stories shared, and there will be many different guests,
Yes.
and we'll iron it out. But you know, there's just a lot to say. We got to catch up on
There
12
is,
weeks of the
yeah.
server, right?
The podcast is in beta about a server that's in beta.
Alpha.
Alpha, excuse me, this is
yeah,
alpha.
I
This
was
is
saying alpha earlier.
episode, right,
Yeah.
episode -1 is
-2, I think, isn't it?
negative
no,
2.
zero-
We'll
zero's
give it a
negative,
couple,
yeah.
right? We'll give it a couple.
Yeah.
So
I
so
know,
my
right?
question
12,
What-
12 weeks is something that just still resonates to me. Like 12 weeks. 12
Oh, it's
weeks.
insane.
Yeah, it is. That's crazy.
So
That's
my
like
question
That's like what 3/5 of a semester of college typically.
when
I
you
don't
put it
know.
like that.
16
What-
really do.
what's-
weeks
I
is a
didn't do
college
college
semester.
very well.
Wow.
So,
Anyway, go on.
So my thing is there are things that we don't have. There are tools and mechanics that we don't have as actors on the server, you know, as role players on the server. So you could say, oh, we don't have this, we don't have that. I think for every time someone says we don't have this, there's a /me command that will do that exact thing. And it's beautiful. How much /me? I want to know all of your opinions about /me, where it's underused. I can't imagine it can.
It's the best tool.
It's the best thing. It can't be overused. So everyone /me.
I got one that I've been trying to. I've been waiting for me to legitimately use it before I put it out in the open. But it should probably be put out in the open before anybody else before I use it. But and this is something I got experience from. Well, it also doesn't work necessarily, but like taking somebody's like doing a pat down and taking somebody's phone, or
Right.
somebody.
The cops do not use it enough.
Yeah, like just pat somebody like, and this is where you then have to respect like when you're at the disadvantaged part of an RP situation. Somebody's holding you at gunpoint or stun point, whatever, or you're outnumbered. Somebody pats you down. You're not going to punch the guy because you're immediately going to get knocked out and end the RP. It's not, the point is not to be a badass and get through, you know, and be like, yeah, I did it. I took on 3 guys. It's like, no, the point of it is, hey, okay, all right, take my phone, take any weapons, you know, and then you have to respect that. So you can't pull if somebody goes slash me, pats down, takes all weapons, you know, takes your weapons away from you, and they like
Yes.
walk away, and they do slash me, like throws them in garbage. You can't pull out your stun gun or your knife or your flashlight or anything. Like you have to respect that, and I think that'll add another layer of like the more, especially with the rumors of more hard drugs coming along and people wanting to control that sort of
Rumors?
trade.
What rumors? I don't know what you're
What the
talking
hell are
about.
you talking to, man? We're a clean city. We got
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
that's
no
enough.
drugs.
Yeah, and
Mm.
Tussie doesn't know anything about what's going on. So yeah, like the idea of the more threatening RP. I know somebody had said, I think it was actually an influencer, said, "I'm glad Tussie's on my side," or it, likes I'm on his good side. And I couldn't understand it for a while, and then I was like, "Oh, it's because Tussie comes off as a guy who will 100% like he's going to do things legitimately. Like he's going to pat you down and make sure you can't hurt him if he wants to talk to you and wants to make sure you're all right." And like I expect that to be done to me too. Like there's enemies that Tussie has that want to beat him up for his political, you know, ideas. And
Yeah, there's so many people that hate the weed thing. By the way, I've talked to so many people. They're like, I can't believe it. Tussie wants to legalize weed. Like,
Well,
I know,
that's
and, like-
the only heavy hitting money maker
Yeah.
right now for
Yeah, it's great.
criminal wise,
Well,
and
it
that's the only
was.
reason.
yeah, it was. And like
Was.
Then
now,
you guys
Oh.
sold so much, and then the price plummeted because your dealers got too much.
and
that
that's
hillbilly hybrid
and
there.
I don't want to, but like I have many opinions on the grinding and farming of weed just to make money. Like Tussie for the longest time didn't have over 5 figures, and I was like happy with that. Like you don't need to have the fastest cars, and it kind of goes back to the whole like getting away from the cops. You don't need to have the fastest car. You can just, you know, have a stolen, you know, sedan and use that to run away from the cops. You don't need to be like, I have to win. You know, you don't need $250,000 or more to be like, yeah, I'm going to be able to have this nice car. Like you need you don't even need the house, you know, like the apartments are nice and they cost 100,000. But like, there's a character on the server who gives out loans and you'll just have to pay him back. Like go and talk to that character who is a banker and they'll give you money. And so you can buy that house or you can buy that car you want. Like, grinding and going after all the weed and whatnot like limits your ability to do RP with other people because you just want to have
Because you're focused on
stuff.
the wrong thing.
Yeah, you're focused on
Like
the
that
mechanics,
stuff is
like,
there to be there to give you something to do when RP is at a low point because maybe the server's got 10 people and 3 of them are EMS and 2 of them are cops, and your friend that you're waiting to move a storyline on just isn't on yet, and you're kind of a little apprehensive to get involved in something and then mess up what you had at least planned. Like, hey, this friend of mine's going to be on and we're going to go do this. You know, it's there to do that and to give you a little bit of money, but you know, we're not farming WoW gold, right? It's like
Yeah.
that's not what we're here for. Like if we really needed to, you know, everyone would immediately have a house, but you want your character to earn some things, right? And as an admin, we have the server request form, and say you're doing that speech and you want your security detail to have like these souped up black SUVs, and you've got your limo for Tussie, and you need 3 people to drive and you need 2 security guards. So, you know, we could make the cars happen and get you some people to fill in these roles so that way you have that entourage that walks with you as you go to the podium or something, and then
Oh, he's got the entourage.
right, but then they can, other than the security guards, like then the drivers can flip to other characters and like mosey on into the audience, so you have a little bit larger of an audience from your perspective in storytelling. Cool. So it's like there's all kinds of things that we could do, and you don't really need the money, and you don't really need to do all this stuff other than to fill the moment when you're waiting for a friend to show up to continue something. But one thing that we have actually discussed is loans that are actually done through the bank. But I kind of want it to be in the player's hands. Like that's a role play thing. Like And then
Correct.
that
I like-
player
I
gets
like-
mad at you
I like the
for
role play behind
not
it.
paying the loan off and send somebody after you to get their payment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's all kinds of ways we could do this.
I like the role play, and you know, I was talking to somebody about, you know, working on some new things coming, and the key thing for me was, I think, you know, like weed's a perfect example, right? Like you can go farm weed and just be by yourself, isolated, and you know, unless a cop shows up or whatever, or you run into someone while you're doing it, it's such an isolated activity that doesn't really play into a storyline very well unless you make it, right? But I think having like a market where you can deal with people for these types of things, and I think that things that are being introduced to the server now are having these types of markets, and loans would be one of those things where you're forced to interact with people in order to accomplish whatever your character's goals are. I mean, that's just going to create RP, right? And give you situations where you might be in a tight spot, or you know, you might find an opportunity as a character, and I think that's really cool. And you know, aside from, you know, not just selling the locals and all that kind of stuff, and obviously you need some of that. To your point, if no one's around and you still want to RP and it fits in with your storyline, yeah, I mean, having the local stuff is great, but having jobs where you can deal with people instead of NPCs just makes it even more exciting.
As
In
you would in real
development.
life. Yes. Yep. In development.
Yeah,
As anyone
I know.
would
I
in real
didn't
life.
want to
There's
say
no.
that, but
There's no. You can't just go to a spot and just dump all your weed on the ground and you get
Yeah,
money.
exactly.
You know, like that's
yeah.
And it all should facilitate the RP. And I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I'm sure we're
Right.
headed
I
that
don't
way.
want to say student TM too much, because
Yeah.
earlier today someone quoted the trademark of Blizzard to me in chat when I started saying soon TM. But there's a lot of stuff in development that I think you guys are gonna like.
Just don't StarCraft ghost us.
No. Oh no, actually we're gonna make a mobile of our server.
Oh,
frick yeah. I love
You guys
it.
got
Yeah.
phones, right?
no.
You guys
I
got
can't wait.
phones.
Yeah.
Oh,
You all have a
no.
phone, yeah?
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
one in your pocket or on a desk somewhere? You got a phone, yeah?
Incorrect response.
Oh, that was a
wrong,
nightmare.
wrong answer, Blizzard.
There went my Activision Blizzard stock.
Yikes. No, but so like you know, kind of talking about what citRa brought up with kind of forcing the thing. That's why, like, I, even though I have cars, I still like to, and like I think it was a thing that like Yumbledore, you said with Timmy once, is like, why are you calling other taxi cabs? You're my friend. I'll pick you up whenever. And like, I'm just like, I want.
But that's how
Like-
you meet people.
Yeah, I want to meet
Yeah.
more people and like talk to people without being a taxi driver. Because if everybody's a taxi driver, nobody needs a taxi. So even
a
if
good
I was
point.
just the single guy who needed a taxi driver, like that, then like I'd benefit myself from a story standpoint. Is I'd have so many people I could call into a story, right? Same goes with like repair. If everybody's a repair guy, why do you need to call for a repairman? You like, you know, and that's, so I looked at that. I'm like, oh, I'll be the delivery guy. I'll just go deliver things when I want to work and make money. And then when I need a ride, I'll just call a taxi driver. And if I need a repair, I'll call a repair guy. And
Yeah, and it's interesting when I remember meeting you doing that, because you called me. I was a cab driver at the
Mhm.
time,
and I needed a
you
ride
know,
to my car. blew
obviously,
up.
yeah, yeah. And obviously, you know, being a delivery person is the least useful job for direct RP,
Mhm.
right? Because no one's calling you for a delivery.
I would.
Not at least, yeah, but at that point in time, we were all still really new, right?
Yeah, there also wasn't
So-
an option to call for a delivery person.
Yeah,
so like I was
exactly.
putting it out there, and like that's why the job board became such a haven for me, because now Tussie can go back to being like a delivery guy. Like, hey, mayoral delivery service, like whatever you need, I got you. Like, and just be like, I'll go pick something up and I'll take it to wherever you are. And like, I think the more people understand how the job board works when it's working,
I'm working on a tutorial.
yeah, like, and know
Yeah.
where to go and get it, and know how to like I think Yumbledore found out like just the other day that you can copy and paste into the thing. Like I even told him that, I'm like, hey, if you flex your control and your V muscles
Oh
at
my
the same
God.
time, you'll be able to put it all in once. And you're like, Oh wow, really? That works?
I knew that. I knew that already. I'm not stupid. I swear.
But like,
No, you totally
yeah,
can.
soon. Yeah, I was gonna say it's soon. And, like the click the call thing will be great, and
Click the
Rabbit
call,
and Crappy and everybody else who's working on the coding of everything is just doing such a fantastic job of like making sure that there are multiple things added every couple days. So it's not like, oh hey, we just fixed some bugs. Like it's like, no, hey, we fixed some bugs and we made some new ones, but that's because we ended up adding new things. So that like that's why there's bugs there. So now we're gonna go back and fix those bugs and add more things to it. So it's not like a constant like we're just fixing things that we broke. We're also adding.
I feel like on your heads up display in game, like we need like a big like beta at the very top of your game all the time, just so people remember. Because and I've been guilty of getting frustrated before, but it's beta and it's a work in progress, and it's come a long way, and it's a ton of fun. But yeah, some shit's gonna break, and most people are really good about it. But like the job board, when that first got introduced, obviously that's a huge gameplay change for a lot of people, and it's a learning curve, right, for all the players that are involved to kind of get used to it. It's either, people aren't calling me when I post on the job board, or no one's posting on the job board, right? When it was first introduced. So, it just took a while to get used to. And
now
yeah,
you can't live without it. And you're forced to live without it for a couple of days as the server migrates.
Yeah, and the other thing with that is I forget who I met. Evelyn? I met Evelyn. I forget who. I forget. I apologize for the person behind Evelyn. But I legitimately called Evelyn, who was a repair person, for a taxi ride, because while there were taxi drivers on the server, I couldn't contact them because none of them were using
on the board.
They weren't on the board.
Yeah.
And Tussie legitimately tweeted out, he's like, "Man, I really wish the taxi drivers in the city knew how to post their things to the job board." And then I remember afterwards I posted that I was going on delivery, and I got like 3 or 4 people in game texting Tussie like, "Hey, how do you work the job board?" So I'm like, how do I explain this in character through text that's not breaking the game? Like, okay, like, well, if you open up your tablet and you can access it, but to post it you'll have to like think with your T muscle and then think out the following sentence. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, like this, but like thankfully there was somebody on that I was able to contact and be like, hey, I know you're not a taxi driver, but I really need a ride into the city because I'm out and I don't have a car and I'm not trying to steal a car, So, and thankfully Evelyn was there.
I think the job board.
And it's. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it was a quick thing. It's the job board is like the job equivalent of /me, in my opinion as well. You can make up. G Money does crime consulting now. Is that a job?
Yeah.
It is now.
Yeah, that's cool.
Consulting ain't illegal, yo. Yeah, so he's a crime consultant. He gets calls to consult people on crime. Is he a good criminal? They don't know. They've never met him. That's why they're calling him, because they've never met him. If they have met him, they wouldn't call him.
And then he sends his associates.
And then he sends the pizza bandit to meet them. Yeah, his close associate, who's clearly not the same person. But the job board is flexible, and you can make money because we're just handing each other money right now. You're not auto-drawn, like, okay, it's programmed so they got out of the taxi after X miles, therefore it auto-draws $2,200 from them. Thanks, RP over. You can have a dialogue about what something is worth, and like what's crime consulting worth? I don't know. I'm going to make up a number maybe, unless we're going to rob a bank, in which case, good luck.
It's worth a lot of money.
It's worth a lot of money, and I won't charge you. Like you can invent a job. The lawyer is virtually invented as of right now. There's no way to get paid. You don't get paid like lawyer wages.
You get paid from, you're right. Well, lawyers don't get paid lawyer wages unless they're working for like a big company. They get paid by a client, right?
Correct.
So,
correct.
Emily Frost's first dabble into lawyering was this character named Chris P. Bacon looked for an attorney after he was involved in a police chase, and so she showed up and went to the police department and talked down the evasion charges down to a parking ticket for $50,000. But what Chris P. Bacon didn't know was the cops originally were just going to warn him for speeding. So
she swindled him.
50 grand later into Emily's pocket, she goes to the bank laughing while the poor schmuck is like 50 grand less and should have just stopped for the cops anyway.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah,
But
whatever.
lawyers
That's
are
more-
you only get paid from your client.
Yeah.
as it should be, or like because we don't have district attorney or the city justice like set up, like so you can't just be like an actual like hourly salaried lawyer. like-
Ideally, I would love to have the prosecuting attorney, defense attorney, and we have a few people
Okay.
that are interested in judges. We have a judge already that can be on the weekends, and we can hold quote unquote night court on the
Let me tell you-
weekends.
Let me tell you something. I got the perfect person for district attorney. Inspector Malone, do you know my friend Timmy? Of course you know my friend Timmy Duflute. He has your heart as you have his. He's going to be your next district attorney.
It should be someone close to the police force, if you know what I mean. Should be someone, someone friendly with all of them. Close to their hearts and minds, and that's, I
That
think
was a good one, Timmy. Timmy, that was.
think
such
we
a
get
good
along
one.
great.
So-
That
Tussie
was
for
pretty
mayor.
smooth.
Tussie for mayor as well. Tussie for mayor.
Oh man, I hate how easy I can get into that voice and that mindset. It kind of scares me.
Fuzzy cuffs,
Dude,
huh?
you just turned that on, right? Like you were doing it earlier when we were talking before we started, and I was like, wow. Like it was just like right away.
Well,
impressive.
it's just Dusty Rhodes. Like that's the idea, and I went over this. It's like it's literally just professional wrestler, rest in peace, Dusty Rhodes, and his voice is the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby. Let me tell you something. I know hard times, Daddy. I know hard times. Ric Flair, you put hard times on Dusty Rhodes, you put hard times on America. So it's just like that, baby. And then there's just a little bit how the a little bit of southern twang in him, and a little more flamboyant, but also at the same time, a little more relaxed. He's not very excited, but then he gets excited. He's all talking like this and things. Yeah, it's just like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's beautiful.
Impressive.
It's beautiful. Ezilii, where did the Becky voice come from? I know that you spent months training,
It's mine. Just mine.
months vocal classes.
You know what? You know what's funny is people in chat will be like, "Why don't you use a different voice?" And then I'll raid somebody, and they'll be complaining that their throat hurts, and I'll be like, "That's because I don't want my throat to hurt
Oh,
because
yeah.
I have to talk every day, so I don't use a different voice." I thought about software to introduce other characters, but like no. If you guys could do it without your throat hurting, props. But I'm not gonna do anything that hurts. to
Yeah, I think
speak.
it depends. It depends on the voice. Like, I mean, Jim Bob's accent is total crap, but it doesn't affect me at all, except for the fact that I sometimes IRL start whipping out accented pieces of sentences every now and then that are terrible. But other than that, it's not a hard one.
Yeah,
It's from the southern U.S. of Canada. That's where Jim
if you
Bob's
just
from.
do like
Yeah.
yeah, Canadian, from
Dude,
Alabama.
Yeah.
As soon as you
so
said that,
many
I'm like, I know
people call me out.
Oh,
Yeah.
you said out? Oh, you
Yep.
said like I
Yeah,
think the first
there
time
you
you said
go,
that,
yeah.
I'm like, hey, Jim Bob, you know that show Trailer Park Boys? I don't know why, but I'm
Yeah,
getting real big Trailer Park vibes from you, like Ricky or Julian. I don't know exactly which one you is.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah, and then I told you that they were filmed in it was filmed in Hillbill Estates. Where
So
I'm
good.
from,
I was like,
because it's
what's
actually filmed. Because it's actually filmed where I'm from, like IRL.
Oh dear.
Yeah, oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Nice
like
little
that's why I
tie-in.
stick with like that's why Tony Colombo, the idea behind him was like a guy who is your typical New Yorker douchebag type guy, but with a southern accent. Like that's legit it. Like he just talks like a southern, and I didn't want to do let me tell you something. No, I wanted to do like hard Texas like Stone Cold Steve Austin voice. And I just was like, I'm not comfortable enough in it right now because it's like I associated with Stone Cold Steve Austin in that voice. It's always sons and like southernisms when it needs to be like forget about it. And you fucking like just like how could I do the the New Yorker inflection, but with an accent from the South, and like just working on that stuff. It's just like
So
ugh.
Grum, I got a
Yeah.
quick question for you.
Yeah.
Do you like wrestling?
Oh, I love wrestling. I'm glad you asked me that. I do
No
love
way.
wrestling.
No way.
It's no way. No,
You
I love
serious?
wrestling.
You can't be serious.
No, I love wrestling. It's
No.
yeah. I almost got in a fight. I forget who was talking in the Discord, but we were talking about like wrestling, and like I was like, yeah, no, like I think WWE still has the best wrestling, and somebody goes, what? How could you say that? And I was like, I am so happy I'm at work and not behind a computer, because I would literally just break my fingers just going like, let me tell you exactly why. I'll give out a bunch of reasons. Like let's go.
Start rant.
Yeah. Do we know when the rant would end? No, but that's the fun part.
It's a
Yeah,
it's a
it's
journey,
always
not
the
a
fun part.
destination. It's a journey.
Yeah, exactly.
But
It's all
that's
about
why
the trip.
I don't. The voices and like my other character that will be debuting as soon as we're done doesn't tenses his typing fingers doesn't like doesn't have like that much stress on the voice. I think when you try to lower your voice or go too high, you got to know where your voice like range is. Just talking, not singing. Please don't. I mean, if you're a good singer, you can sing on the server. Go ahead.
Yeah, but then you're singing for like 14 hours in a row.
But like, so
Oh
like
my
with
God.
Tussie, it's a lisp. That's it. It's a lisp, a little bit higher voice, or you know. But this guy is going to be a very higher voice, but it's a voice. It's not out of my range.
I hope he's sustainable
Right.
for you. That's all I hope. I hope it's
I think
sustainable.
I've done 7-hour bits of like legitimately doing that voice with people thinking that was my actual voice.
Well, there you go.
So
You're practiced. So I gotta ask, because I've been saying this to people for like 2.5 weeks. Like I'm like, man, I gotta create another character. I want to create another character because Jim Bob's got his limits and all this kind of stuff. And I'm having a hard time drawing inspiration to do that. Half of the reasons because Jim Bob, it just always finds stuff to do, and he's really fun to play. But where do you guys, because you guys have developed multiple characters, Yumble, you've done a really great job, and I almost called you Tussie.
it's fine. It's fine.
I know this is something you've done before. Like, where do you draw that inspiration from?
Yumbledore,
Like,
you want
how
to
do
go
you do
first?
Oh,
I'll give you the floor.
yeah. The great question, by the way, citRa. Great question. Geez, Timmy was originally going to be Midwestern for no reason, just because I wanted to do. I wanted to do the Fargo voice. I wanted to have some. I'm from the farm country, eh? And I'm out here just doing my thing, and then I couldn't without laughing.
Canada. That's
Well, it's
quite
kinda
more like
Canada.
Canada farm country.
But it's the
you
Midwest,
just said
the
eh.
northern. I said they say up there as well, eh? They do. It's up there in the farm country. Think Fargo.
North
think Coen
Dakota
Brothers.
is like Canada south.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's all the region. There's bleed there.
Right.
And then I realized after a couple conversations, I couldn't maintain it because I'd hear other people's accents, and I'd start slipping into their accent. I met Imperial Jedi's Officer Carter, right? So he's Carter. I forget his last name, but he's Officer Carter, and he's from Philadelphia. He's what was it? I don't want to even try to imitate it, but
He's from Boston.
he told me he's from Boston, Philadelphia, something. He
Yeah,
said
a
it was
bunch
like
of
4
different
different places because it's all.
Yeah.
I don't know. if
Similar.
we got a John running around claiming they're from Philadelphia, I need to just make a third or fourth character that's just legit, just TGrum61, and just go, hey, come here. I want to hear that. Give me your accent. Just completely like fourth wall breaking. I need to hear
Yeah.
that accent. Jedi, come here. Like, let's go.
Jedi.
Come here. Hey, it's like, oh man, but I'm
So-
not doing that because that is not great.
So I kept slipping into the wrong accent, and I thought he was a criminal originally, Timmy. I thought he was a bad guy, but he would be a really nice guy. He'd be a really nice guy who was actually a really bad guy, but he was nice to everybody. And then at some point during the day, I think I turned it off. I wasn't streaming. When I turned it back on, I said, I'm going to do the transatlantic accent. And I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk like my inspiration was what's his face from the. You want the moon? I'll give you the moon. I'll throw a lasso up around it and pull it down. It's James Stewart. James Stewart was the inspiration, actually. That's what it is. and it just went from there. And Timmy developed, and literally it was just a voice and an idea. And then I found out he wasn't a criminal. And G Money is every rural gangster kid ever. He's every rural gangster kid. I grew up in northern New Hampshire. There's no hood. There's no hood. There's no like anything. There's like rap albums at Walmart. You can buy a rap album or two. You can dabble in drugs and badness and get into all kinds of trouble. But there's no like hood. There's no cities big enough. It's super rural. But there were these kids that were very, very gangster. They found themselves to be gangster, and that's what G Money is exemplifying. And I just wanted to talk like this, yo. I just wanted to just let everyone know how tough I am, and that I can battle rap anybody, and I'll fight you right now. I've fought everyone. I have thousands of girlfriends. That's who I am. I'm not insecure. I don't cry when I'm alone. I'm not sad. I'm not deeply saddened on the inside. Stop talking. Why are you saying this? Like that's who he actually is. He's actually like really super vulnerable, and that's why he's such a jerk to everyone.
Right.
He's cried several times.
Doesn't care much.
He's learned to care of late. That went away. You were right about that. You were like, well, G Money, I think you'll learn to care about some things. You actually said that as Officer Becky, because all I could think of, the planning, there was zero planning other than he's the archetypal rural, like he's never had a hardship in his life, but he's still from the streets, yo. He's not from the streets. He's not from the streets remotely. He does care about things. And Brace and then we have lifeguards. Slayer and I have lifeguards, which is literally just quintessential like frat boys. They're 28-year-olds who have been volunteer lifeguards for the last decade because that's where the bebs are. And that's
surfer
it.
bros.
They're surfer bros. Yeah, exactly. But maybe he doesn't know how to surf though. I'm not sure yet. We haven't decided that yet.
Have they met Chad?
He can pretend.
No, they haven't met Chad.
Oh, dude, that'd be
They need to
hilarious.
meet Chad, because Chad would be like, bro, and they'd be like, bruh. They'd be like, bro, X Games.
Good
times. Yeah. X Games, bro.
Yeah, so it'd be Brace, Chase, and Chad.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Gross. I'm curious.
So bad.
It's really bad, but that's
At least
the fun
it's
of
not
it.
Creighton. I think if I made a fourth just to join you guys, it would be Creighton. His name would be Creighton. I found a 2-year-old child who I hate his parents because their name is Creighton, like Braden, but with a C.
Oh.
And I'm just like,
ooh,
was that a typo? And you just said, oh, that's an idea. Like, let's go with that. I'm like, Jesus, like Creighton. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird name.
So what about you, Grum? Where did you like?
So
I think you talked about it a little bit, but
yeah, I talked about Tussie, Tony Colombo,
and his voice, but like Tussie's backstory and stuff. Like,
well, all right.
How'd you come up with that?
So I wasn't sure. His backstory, I did based off of what so it was originally supposed to be on No Pixel, and I talked about that, but like, the idea was like, oh, he's a retired cop. It was basically his backstory was made so that I could become a cop and get in on No Pixel. And I was like, all right, this character, he's going to be a cop. Like it's whatever. So I made him a retired cop from Louisiana and whatnot. And then I think once I came on the crew, I kept that part. And ever since then, like everything gets added a little bit. So like that, his backstory going into it was he's just a former cop. And I think I added layers to him as I went. Like, there was like one of the first defining moments was with Timmy and Donahue, and he was just like, "Look, I'll do weed, baby. Look, I ain't got no problem with weed. Weed's good. I think it do good in communities. I ain't gonna go any further." And then I think I went into his diatribe of like why weed is good, and that he's tired of weed being bad, and like. He has like this he gets on a soapbox in front of Timmy and Donahue, and he's just like, look, I'm down. You don't gotta worry about me. I want to do this because weed does a lot of good. People give back. That's what I'll get my cut. I'm giving back to the city. There's people in this city that need money more than I do. I don't need money, blah 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 blah. So it does that. The grab people was just a joke where he was just walking around, and I think I forget whose chat I was in, but somebody talked. I think it was Gabby's, Veronica's, the person who plays Veronica's Gabby Bird, And I was just like, yeah. And you know, I was like, she's like, crab people are so fun. I said, yeah, you know, Tussie knows about the crab people. He was in the, you know, he went through the woods as a child and saw the crab people, and ever since then to blend in. You know, if you see crab people, you got to blend in. You got to walk like crab, talk like people, and it just becomes a bit now that, like, you know,
The entire server does.
Crab
basically,
people,
yeah.
crab people.
Crab
It's so
people.
good. It's so
You
good.
know,
Crab
so
people,
Tussie will
crab
throw it off,
people.
and he'll just say, "Talk like crab, walk like people," and then he'll go, you know, just does like Kingler or Krabby noises from Pokemon, like,
Pinching sounds.
yeah, and like the idea of it is, you know, is that's why I always say, like, your character is never, you know, is never not evolving, and like you go in with this idea that your character, I mean, Yumbledore is to the extreme of it. So you can go in thinking your character is going to be the baddest guy in town, and like, or the most, you know, intimidating criminal, and then you're like, you know what? He's going to end up putting people in jail instead. He's going to be a lawyer who, you know, is going to,
Yeah.
who has aspirations of being a district attorney. Like here we go, right? And like the composure circle is another thing that I've kind of taken on, which is like when I can't handle something and I'm being broken in stream, and I got this from Nymph and Baltic the first time I met them. I was like, oh, you know, it's basically when you're getting cracked, just take a moment and compose. Just literally have your character lay down and just go in circles like that. And that's like a funny thing that I thought was hilarious. I'm like, yeah, I don't break often. I'll pat myself on the back. But if I'm doing that and I legitimately need a moment, I'm just going to roll around in circles.
Ezilii, did you so Becky's like a extra tough Ezilii, if that's possible, right? Is that a bold assertion?
Well, so like Becky was basically testing, right? Like you gotta have the police force dictate the success of the server.
Correct.
Because if the police are running rampant and not doing their thing, the server ends up having trouble because, you know, you get stuck or, you know, someone beats you up, whatnot. That's been told to me time and time again, and I kind of see it is actually kind of true, because when we have an issue, then the server has an issue. The same thing with EMS. Like, if we don't have these city services, then you guys can't do your work, which is to tell a compelling story, because you can't get help when you need it, right?
Yeah.
Becky has kind of learned that she has to kind of take no shit, right? Like she's learned this kind of on the job. There was really no backstory. I made her to test the police department. I didn't make her to lead the police department. That's for someone else to do, and that's for someone else's story. But at the moment, she is the highest ranking officer, and that's because there's an administrative function to it. There's actually a character on the server named Ezilii who holds the title Director of Emergency Services.
Where's she
as
then?
my administrative character, right? Like,
yeah,
her whole job would be like to roleplay. Congratulations, you are now hired as the chief of police. Or if Tussie gets mayor,
Yeah.
Tussie can do a roleplay bit when someone achieves this level of performance, and you know they rise through the ranks, right? Again, it's all in beta, so I had no idea where she was going to go, and she's kind of turned into, you know, Becky Badass to an extent. Like, I did get a taser hit off someone without really looking. Whoops. She doesn't really take much stuff, although she was kidnapped. She was drunkenly kidnapped.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
But there wasn't my story to tell, right? She played the, you know, supporting character.
Yeah,
so
that synth character story was that was fun to watch. The ending of it, that was really
yeah,
cool.
I was sad
Synth,
that
absolutely.
Synth was she also approached me ahead of time, like, look, I have this idea. I'm like, sure, go for it. And I was hoping to get an officer kidnapped if I had to do it, to see how they would respond. But you guys were so good at /me takes phone. I was like, damn it.
Yep. Absolutely. Slash me is the most powerful thing, and it's
And
not
I
even a
It
thing.
was
is.
like,
It's vapor.
game over. I can't like ping them, hey, officer kidnapped, and have them like freaked out, right? Like,
Mhm.
and what was funny was there was other people streaming, and I wasn't live at the time. I wanted the story. I didn't want people over in my chat. I wanted people in your guys' chat.
They were there.
And
They were
Imperial
definitely there.
Jedi was streaming his 24-hour stream, and people would go to his chat and say that Becky Malone was in the morgue, or like Becky was killed, and he was freaking out
Oh, that poor boy.
because they didn't
He was
know
already-
where Becky was. They were starting like I don't know how the rest of the server knew within the server, besides watching streams, that Becky was compromised in some way other than beyond kidnapping. But we were talking about third base earlier. That would be the helicopter ride, would be third base.
Oh goodness. For who? You're not talking about me, are you? Third base.
So she kind of comes
Blushes.
like she just
Blush-
she just
slash me
naturally
blush.
has evolved to not give much a crap other than you broke the law, do your time, you messed up, fix it, don't talk to me until I'm ready. Because she has a lot of stress. The whole city is on her shoulders. Emily Frost, however, is a flip to that. She's not going to take your stuff, and she doesn't give your stuff, right? She comes out of anger. Because I was so mad at somebody, and then I made this character, and then she kind of evolved to test the police department. Now, kind of, I use her as testing grounds, but I was so mad at an incident that happened, and she'll trample on your rights if you trampled on the rights of somebody else, and she doesn't care how you feel. She only cares about getting whoever is paying her money to be off on the charges. That's all she cares about. She doesn't care about the law. She doesn't care about upholding the law. She doesn't care about how police officers feel. She doesn't care about her clients' feelings. She just sees this problem, here's the solution, and this is what she wants, and she'll do anything to get what she wants at the end of the day. If that means that client is off the hook for a bunch of charges, great. If that means the client's still going to jail, she got $150K, and the cops are still whining about the fact that she got a lot of the charges reduced, she's good with that too.
But I think Becky, as tough as she is, in contrast to, they're both tough, but Becky is so hard on the cops. Like I've seen in RP, you are so tough. You as Becky are hold them to such a high standard. You know, you will let them know. And I've seen the fun parts too behind the scenes. Like I've seen some VODs, but Becky is so challenging to the other officers on the force, right?
I think so, yeah.
Correctly. And that's not criticism. I'm just saying like somebody has to hold everyone to a high standard.
To behave. There has to be standards, and when you're not like the police department makes or breaks the role play. If we come in guns blazing, we kill the role play. If we come in restrained and we behave and we allow for some moments to happen, then role play lives on. And if the cops are rough and tumble and always, in someone's face and just cutting off role play, everybody else is going to just cut off role play.
Yes.
And we need to let the role play live, and the cops have to show some restraint, even though they're totally going to get yelled at. They're going to get spit on, peed on. I had someone pee in my car the other day. They're gonna they're gonna get they're like, people are gonna say nasty things to an officer in role play, and that officer needs to be able to deal with that. But they also, as a person, need to be able to deal with it. Not hold revenge on the person that is calling them all kinds of names, but understand that it's role play, and we have to be able to do this. Otherwise, we get RP bleed, and roleplay bleed is going to wreck everybody, because then you're going to take it out of roleplay, you're going to take it into someone else's channel, and you're going to start yelling at someone, or you're going to tweet something, or you're going to start all the drama that happens with a lot of the larger servers. I don't care about your drama. I don't want to know about your drama. Get the hell out of here is pretty much my stance. Because we can't have it. We have to understand that there's roleplay bleed, and we have to understand when someone is in roleplay and when someone's not. Now, I've learned this. It's been a hard lesson to learn, but I've learned it. Sometimes you'll hear my own frustrations, me, Ezilii, come out through my character, because I've got so many things going on at the same time that I don't really have a moment to roleplay. And it's happened a couple of times, and it's ruined some stuff.
I mean, I think that's just human nature. I think objectivity is kind of a farce, but we all do our best. Like, objectivity is a thing it's a nice idea. What a great idea that we can be totally separate from our character, or from our playing a role experience. That's a nice idea, but ultimately, yeah, it's going to happen. You just have to mitigate it as best you can and not take it personally, right?
Right.
I mean, it's like actors taking things personally. There's no reason to the
Don't be a bunch of
Saruman.
Vin Diesels.
Does he actually? Oh no.
Yeah, Vin Diesel like legitimately hates The Rock because The Rock like came in and stole every scene and made Fast and Furious like super box office like with his involvement. And Vin Diesel's like, boo, I don't like that. I don't like you. And then Tyrese was like, yeah, I don't like The Rock either. And they're like, shut the hell up, Tyrese. Nobody cares about you in the first place. You're like a third. He is
Exactly.
Rhetorically.
I know.
Right
Who's
there.
his character? I don't forget what his character's name is. Like, it's not even good. He's boy, I don't remember.
And that's the point.
But that's the thing
That's
at
the
the
point.
end.
Yeah.
Right. That was the point. But the other point is that we are, as much as we are not, Hollywood glamorous, actors in the field, we are still acting, and we have to understand that when you act a part, you live that part, and then you put it away on the shelf.
Yes.
As opposed to, your arch nemesis in the movie could still be your best friend in IRL, but you have to play the part that's your arch nemesis. We don't want to take it so far that we get so sucked into our own role play that it tears apart our own actual IRL life or friendships that have come through role play or before role play, and then it just gets smashed on because the two characters they're at odds, right?
Yeah.
And that's a rookie mistake. I know that I've probably made it a couple of times, and I know that sometimes I let like the 50 DMs that have stacked up on me like right then and there bleed into my role play, because I'm also trying to address that so I don't have 80 when I wake up.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's calmed down now because we have systems in place, and every time we find a need for a system or we run into something, we come with a solution, and the solutions are what you see. The next evolution of the server comes from necessity. So we had a couple incidents, and now there's a mod report form. Someone wanted to have a car show. Great. Now there's an event form request, a server event request. Admins look at it, say, great, we can make this happen. Let's do it.
And I think it's good to do that in beta as well. I think it's nice that everything's in beta and the mistakes are just pushing the beta. Anytime that there's a perceived mistake, it's not really a mistake because you can just learn from it and either implement something, be it a rule or a mechanic, right? One or the other, or something
Exactly.
before it's live, as live as it feels, because I'm living in the city. So I feel like it's live, but we're still just pushing the beta. And I hope we're all helping that and seeing it that way and not letting it get to us, because there's a lot of hard work going on that we don't have to do or see, but it's real. It's really happening. And it's, I thought I was late to the party. Like I said, I'm glad I'm not. I'm glad that that I get to help push it and help.
You're
make the mistakes.
probably about a third through the beta.
You're right. Exactly. I didn't know that when I joined. It all
so
felt
if
quite
this is
established.
a third of the beta at 12 weeks.
What's that? Nine months before.
That's a
I mean,
How
goddamn
symbolic.
baby.
How symbolic. Yeah,
Yeah.
how perfect. How perfect.
I love that there are that there are the mod. I like that there are all the forms of reporting, like mod reports or the event forms or player reports, because those are the things that will help make everybody on the server like
Better.
have an easier time and better. Yeah, like hey, I like. The reason why I haven't had Tussy just do any campaign things is because like last time it was through an announcement, people showed up. I didn't think I didn't think a lot of people would show up, and we had I think we had
Like the whole server
20,
there.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. I think we had 22. The only two people that weren't there were EMS and cops. And like I know that, and I'm like, okay, like I want to make sure it makes sense story wise before I even put it in into the form and whatnot. And then but like it's good, it's healthy, it's a good thing to be utilized as well. Like don't think that you can't use those, right? Like don't be afraid to use those things, because at the end of the day it'll make the server and all of us better as well.
Right. And
Seriously.
like it's okay to have a disagreement with somebody, and it's okay to not see eye to eye. That is a part of life. That is a part of your character's existence. And that's all good. And then if you witness something where someone might have broken a rule, or someone might have done something that made you uncomfortable, or someone might have done something that you think is out of line, that's where the mod report form is. And then you've got a group of people that will scour and collect data and comments from the people that are involved, put it together, and figure out how to solve it. Like there are people who wake up in the morning and reach out and talk to people that are involved and then sort it out.
There's avenues for that. We have the
Yep.
technology. We have the technology.
Yeah.
This is true.
It's got
So
goddamn technology.
so
I
it-
don't know how to work any of it.
it occurs to exactly, Jim Bob, exactly. But it occurs to me, Timmy Two Flutes, that is, we estimated a half an hour for this podcast. We may have gone a tad over time, if I may assert that.
That's fine.
If I may assert, oh no, of course it's okay. I just want to sign off as
What the
Timmy
hell's
Two
a
Flutes.
podcast?
Exactly. I don't even know. I don't even know what that is.
I don't
Jim
even
Bob,
know what a
let the man
podcast
Did we
is.
even do the
All
clips
right, all
yet?
right, all right.
We didn't do the clip. Oh, should we do
Did
clip?
Did we hit the bullet points though?
Yeah, we
yeah.
Did we skip any?
Abundantly.
We
yeah.
roundabouted like 10 of them.
Yeah,
I did
seriously.
my best to
Yeah.
No, we got. I think we got what
this
we
way, bud. This way.
what we needed.
Yeah, I
but
was
no.
trying to say, but it was great discussion.
Yeah. I agree. We can do clips if you want to. I just figured it was 2 hours, and I know some of us might want to get into the city. I would like to do
Is there a queue
maybe
right
next
now?
time.
I bet you there's a queue. Probably not.
Oh, you think so? Oh, geez.
Everybody's probably here.
Oh, geez.
Well, I'm gonna race everybody. It was so long, suckers. I'll see you in there.
You don't want to do the clips?
We can do the clips. We can do the clips.
I would do the
There's
clips.
some,
down
there's
for
some
the
good
clips, I'm down
ones.
for the clips.
There's some good ones.
There's always
Chat
some
wants
good
to see
ones.
clips.
There's always so many
there's
good
5
ones.
of us here, right? No, 4 of us here.
Here, let's see. If you can whisper them to me, those who have them.
You should have
Citra
them.
sent me a bunch. So
Yeah,
if I
they're mostly just Jim Bob being an idiot. For the most part.
You should have a few that I have sent you.
Yes, I do. They're in the Discordio, which I would have to. It would compromise our nice little graphic at the bottom.
I only
if I
sent
couldn't.
you a single one, so
Where am I supposed to send them to you?
Whisper them right on Twitch if that's okay. That would be the easiest, so I don't mess up our little thought bubbles down here. The technology is a learning process as well. But here, I got a Jim Bob. Take your time. I got some classic Jim Bob material on the way. Oh, I saw this. I know what this is. This is the bus, everyone. Welcome to the bus.
Yeah, you use your judgment on what you want to play.
I can't see what they are, but this one is we're gonna send it.
We got this.
Yeah, we
Everybody got your floaties on?
Yep, I do.
Oh, good. You're gonna need them.
I don't know how to swim, but let's baptize this thing.
I wonder what happens if he pays somebody out of this.
Just hold S for savior. Maybe. Let's go. Send it, baby.
We're gonna get to see an
Hell
officer.
yeah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. This is the slowest goddamn send I've ever seen in my life. Oh, God, he jumped.
Oh no. The send. The send.
Yeah, it was such a rough send. Oh man, Hot Fingers playing Jesus has to be one of the funniest things on the server.
He's a riot. He's a riot.
Oh
He's
my
great.
God, it's great.
Goodness, what else? What else do we got here? Ezilii's got the goods. Is this more of Jesus, please? Is this more of
I think she said she did have one. Yeah.
Here, let me see it. I want
Here,
there's one specific one that I want.
The second one is a Jesus incident, and
Yes.
then the third one is a Jesus incident.
That guy has troubles with the law. Hot Fingers, where are you?
He-
That guy has
He
issues.
didn't used to.
He's getting bold.
Supposed to save us?
God damn it. Give me shit like that, woman. How dare you? Ow, don't kill me. God damn it. Stop killing me. Ah. God damn it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God damn it. Did you have to get in? Well, I guess this is a thing now.
That's the day he destroyed my car.
So he actually jumped out. I watched it from his
He
perspective.
did jump out.
He
Yeah.
jumped out and hit a road sign. In fact, he actually jumped out and there was a
Yes.
sign there and he died on impact.
grab the next. I think the next one might
Yeah.
be a nice finale to that one.
Absolutely. The end of the saga. The end. Is it? Should I call
That was
it?
kind of
don't-
the start of the saga, and then there was like a middle. Yeah.
Is it? Don't take the cuffs off when you're in the cell with them. Is that? Oh goodness, this I've never seen this one actually. I've never seen this one. Very nice. Let's do it.
And gold
Oh, wait,
rims
no.
too, huh?
This is so epic.
Yeah. So
There's
how
more
do-
to the saga.
Okay, we need
after.
to write an incident report and very soon a homicide report.
No.
So how did you find it?
So
And gold.
Is that
rim-
Carice's car? I hope it
Yeah.
was.
So
It's
she's
always
getting
hers.
them to file in an incident report.
Yeah.
And then she's gonna go kill the person.
How very officerly. They can do that, right? They can just go kill a person.
Man.
No,
That's due
actually,
process.
They can't.
No, they can't. Of course they can't.
The
That's
third
it.
one on that list that you have.
Yes. Oh
I've
yes.
been in these damn things for like 30 minutes now.
That's not my fault.
Well, no shit. You put me in them, so yes, it is.
31 to dispatch, I'll be 76.
Oh, thank you.
911.
Butthole, this is what you get. You deserve
And
everything
431
you
showing
get.
you.
Yes! Power of Christ compels you, bitch ass.
We have that might be
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Hot fingers.
The whore you is what you get life is the
The power of Christ. Oh, it's so solid.
man.
It's so solid.
Oh god.
Let's see. I've got one that I'd like to do, and it's not even from my thing. Where's Boom? Where's oh my goodness. I feel so bad because I can. He's so new to me, that I don't remember his whole name yet, but it's Boom.
Boom to ba.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We hit it off so well, and I'm very quiet in this clip, but he met the pizza bandit, the elusive pizza bandit. While I just find this real quick. Consummate professional. Here it is. We've got this.
The pizza bandit.
No, I didn't really have any plans of doing crime tonight, but you know, what the heck?
You've been swayed by the pizza. Let's go.
Oh, I'm dying.
Pizza planet.
Here, let's stay here and finish planning.
Pizza planet.
Pizza planet.
To keep the money in. And then
Hey,
we can drive-
And it turned into a bank robbery. What started as crime consulting turned into a bank robbery. So that's put your stuff on the job board, even if it doesn't exist. citRa, did I?
You've been swayed by the pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that under citizen.
That's and I did because if you do it under repair, you get repair calls. So I said, okay, it's not worth the power to repair vehicles is not worth the power to not get repair calls at inopportune times for that situation. So that is a citizen job, very much so. And I've met no less than I think 3 or 4 people. Well, no less than 3 people we can say safely through crime consulting, which always ends up in committing crimes. By the way. Grum, do you have any favorites that you want to? From any
I
channel.
didn't send you it. I'm trying to think. Let me. No, I don't
Timmy
think
getting
you
hit,
clipped
man. Timmy
No.
getting hit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do citrus. Do
Yeah.
citrus,
Okay.
and then
It's
and then I'll send you the link from my side of things.
Both are so good. Yeah. Both are so. citRa, is that the last one on here? Or wait, is it any of them?
Jeez, it's one of them.
I can find it.
It's
I can
one
find it.
one of the ones I took from your channel because your view of it is the best.
Here I'll do the I'll do it from my channel. Let me just dig that up.
I think it's like one of your top clips in the last 30 days.
Oh, it's one of the top clips in my heart for sure. That was a great, great
Yeah.
moment.
I watched that like 15 times that night after I got off the server.
I might get hit by a car.
And
That's what
laughed
it's
every
called.
time.
That's what it's called here. So for context, as I load this up, Timmy does monologue. My characters will monologue on occasion, which is when chat is the only one that can hear me. You know, it's for me and it's for chat and it's my character's inner monologue. So no other player can hear what I'm doing in this situation. But it's Timmy just thinking about his day, and he just said goodbye to Jim Bob. So he has some kind words to say about Jim Bob, and I'm just reliving the moment. You know, reliving some good moments from the day. Finally, it's just me and myself. Just me and my lonesome self. I just wanted to have a monologue, you know? Not everybody takes kindly when I say, "Hey, I'd like to have like a quick word with myself." You know, sometimes it confuses people, but Jim Bob, that guy just gets it. That guy just gets it, you know? He doesn't say he's very smart, but not all intelligence is book smarts. Not all intelligence is book smarts, okay? Not all intelligence is book smarts. I might get hit by a car. So anyway, Georgia's still quite sore with me, but I'm just glad they're both okay. You know, Georgia Peaches and Spencer, they're both, you know.
Oh!
Do they not know it was me? So I get wrecked by Jim Bob, whom I'm hoping has the clip. Jim Bob meaning citRa.
Yeah.
If you got that jam, let me get
Yeah,
that.
here, I got that. I got that
sent
hot right here.
I sent it to Yumbledore.
Grum's got it. Grum's got it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was from Citrus' point of view.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's so good because I had no idea what you were thinking. I thought like somebody else needed medical attention. I know that you were helping them. So I thought that you just ignored the fact that you destroyed me, but I'm such a small blip in this clip. Here's the full thing of it. And we'll
I sent you another one too.
Perfect, yeah. So here's the same situation, different perspective, Jim Bob's perspective.
Don't tell me that, man.
Sorry, brother, but didn't want to lie to you.
Oh!
Oops.
Cut you off.
Yeah, sure did. It's an emergency.
but if it's Timmy, I'd rather you not hit me.
Was that Timmy?
Because my foot hurts,
I
man.
think it was. I'm not sure. I just saw black.
Grum.
Oh my
Grum.
god, it's so good.
Grum, you made that, by the way. I just want to say, I'm sorry if you couldn't hear over my laugh.
That
I
was
tried. I
Timmy.
pushed the mic away, but the fact if it's Timmy, I'd rather you not hit Timmy. I'd rather. There it is. I'd rather you not hit him.
He got in the way. Yeah, but if it was Timmy, I'd rather you not.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
I sent you another one, which is
Yes.
Ezilii's interactions with Jesus, and Jesus ended up winning more times than not against Becky Malone, but not on this day. He did not best Tussie Boucher.
Here it is. Oh goodness. I know what this is. You're all about to know what this is. You knew what this was. Here it is.
Imagine like just being picked up, you know, just like lifted up, almost like you were nailed against something. Yeah, be very undesirable. What? Did your girlfriend tell you what we did last night? We're all going to die soon. Brother, I don't have no girlfriend.
Yeah, I want X-rays down
I'm sorry, that was a burn.
leg for Curtis and also
A fiery
scan,
burn.
please. Yes.
It's all right,
That was
you know.
uncalled for. I
It takes. It doesn't take me 3 days to get it up.
Ow. That fucking hurt.
Oh.
Ow.
Only to have it bleed.
You heard him.
Imagine like
You heard him.
Oh, that was good.
Tussie cuts deep when he wants to.
Yeah, he does.
Tussie's got the deep cuts. Oh, it's so good. And there's so many more that I want to. We just have to do like a super cut of crew things.
I think Ezilii had one though. I definitely needs to be showed.
It
was the last one on the list.
Is it something ghostly? Is it something?
Oh yeah.
Did you both give me the same thing? No. So wait, whose do I? Ezilii's last one?
Yeah, I do Ezilii's. Yeah.
Agreed. Oh, perfect. See, and this one I actually don't really. I didn't see much of this saga, but I know it was encompassing for at least like one night. It was server wide mayhem for about the span of an evening.
I think it was 2 days they were doing it. But yeah.
Oh goodness. Here it comes, everyone. Ghoul Smashers.
That what's her face was driving? Oh shit, there he is.
Gran. Where? Wait,
He's right there. He's right across the street.
Oh my god.
Dude.
Ghost! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh. That happened. He came around this corner and then he was gone. Oh, she just crashed. And he just crashed. Oh no. Oh, the ghost broke her.
Ghoul Smashers. Not to be confused with the Ghostbusters. Not to be confused.
Trademark, not infringement.
Definitely not them.
Yeah.
Different entity entirely. But yeah, there's so many cuts. We need to assemble like the crew. Who is the crew super cut from like all these channels?
For a lot, but I
have
Flips channel
so
is
many.
So long. I'm gonna have to spend time on a weekend.
I do have one.
Maybe
from
we
Zuko
should do viewer
that
favorites.
Just to show off, because where is it? Here it is. It like led up to that, and it was like I was joking. I even went as far as like contacting Kex and being like, "Hey, can you hop on Agent real quick?"
You made the man.
just to be a ghost, because it was like the day after Agent was shot, and they were like screwing around as ghost, and then I think Stewie jumped on as that model and made everything just insane.
Beautiful. The admin powers. Did you just send it? Is that it?
Yeah,
I did. Yep.
Got it. Send it. It's the slowest send I've ever seen.
Just freaking send it, bud.
Is that Canadian? Who even said that? I don't even know who said that. Was that Grum or
was not
citRa?
me.
That was
Was
me.
Grum. Wow. Honorary Canadian medal
Thanks.
goes to.
Oh, I'm accepted by many of the Canadians.
Fucking send her, bud.
Exactly.
Hey,
Throw
bud.
a bud
Hey,
in there.
hey, bud. Just send her, eh?
Here goes. We're gonna send this. What is this? It's turned up all the way.
Sounds like a hotbed.
You guys
In Stab City.
Crap. Go, go, go.
That was a ghost. Hey, go.
What the fuck was that? I saw that shit.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Forgive the volume. It's cranked. I've had all these dimed.
Oh man, Indies. Oh,
Yep,
it's the
yep,
best
hurt.
part.
Ghoulish wail. Wailing at the ghouls. All right. I was gonna so what I was getting at a little bit ago when I started doing the two flutes is I want to hear everyone sign off. I want everyone's character to sign off. I want to hear goodbyes from everyone, and then I think 2.5 hours is pretty good for a half-hour podcast in my humble
Yeah,
opinion.
not too bad.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
15 out of 10.
We got our money's worth.
Yes. So wait, are we doing sign off in characters?
I would like to. I think we're all
Okay,
good for it.
do
I'd
you
like to
want-
hear from Becky
do-
Malone.
do-
I'd like to hear
You
from
want Becky Malone or you want Emily Frost? Because I'm your
Ooh.
worst nightmare and best friend in one convenient package. Thanks for having me.
Timmy has never been so aroused.
Come here often?
Oh my.
Oh my goodness. Does that count? Ezilii? Was that yours?
I guess it counts. Yeah.
That was it. At your discretion. Grum, what's Tussie have
Do
to
you
say?
want Tussie, or do you want the other one?
How about the surprise one?
Yeah, give us a sneak peek.
All right, man, this is Lil Muff 350 preheat for out from the oven, y'all, baby. See you later.
Swag.
Swag.
Expect that tonight. Expect that, everyone.
Clip.
citRa, what's Jim Bob have to say for himself?
All right, fellas. It's almost Sunday morning. I got to go to the church/strip club. Got to have a little nap in the pew there for a bit till the ladies come on stage and I get my clams and chips. So I'm gonna head out there, boys. You guys have a good one.
That sounds wonderful. That sounds fantastic to me. I think we've had a wonderful time this evening. Special thanks to Jim Bob and my friend Tussie Vermeer, and Becky Malone. We'll send out the wedding cards as soon as we have them. They're in the mail. Get ready. I'll tell her later.
It's like the checks in the mail, but
Checks
it's
in the
not.
It's with the checks that I pay my moderators. It's in the mail forever.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you all so
Thanks.
much.
It was a blast.
Absolutely. This is going to become a weekly thing, not next week for me because I'll be away. But everyone, thanks for being here for the inaugural, the first time ever, the TheCrewRP podcast. Let's make it a weekly thing and let's get some excitement, and we'll tell everyone's stories and we'll get them all on here, and we'll have a centralized picture on what the crew is and where it's going and what everyone's doing. Thank you all so much for being here, and have a great night.